Welcome podcast to. There's a track here is Zero no Kiseki Evolution Tense Chase. What the fuck is this track? It's so good. It's like power metal but symphonic as well. It's symphonic elements at least to an extent anyway. It's not like, you know, strings and stuff, but it's got synth and whatnot. It's got so much going on. It has such an interesting composition as well, because it has the same sort of layout as like Japanese traditional music anyway has. It has like two sections that also repeat once, and then it goes into an actual chorus which sounds very sort of J-pop, which is surprising given this is it like a Charles of Steel? I could be wrong about that. It's got like no Kiseki, and this probably is Charles of Steel actually. But the Charles in the Sky maybe? I can't remember my Japanese song. But yeah, it's such a great track. It's quite hype, it's quite fast paced as well. I just like it for that reason. It just reminds me of all the good anime music that exists. It's great that a game supposedly has this. I think it's a game anyway. Could be wrong about that actually, I never thought about it. Yeah, I'm so impressed with this track. It surprises me. I was just putting on my playlist the other day to basically have some background noise when I was so alone in the house. I put on my headphones and stuff, listen to whatever songs there were, and yeah, I'll say on my playlist of like 8,000 tracks I think. And this came on, and I was like, holy shit, what the fuck? This is actually really good. And so I looked at it, tried to find the name for ages because it kept cutting off on my music player, I don't know why. But eventually I found it and just looked it up, and yeah, it's quite an underrated track as well. It's like, jeez. As with a lot of things, Falcon Sound Team just seems to be very underrated. This is a game soundtrack as well, keep that in mind. It's not even like a cover, I don't think, anyway. It's obviously the Evolution version, because I did look it up with just the initial name and it came up with something different. So it has to be the Evolution version. Yeah, can't really recommend this track enough, and likewise the soundtracks associated with these, like all the soundtracks that these have made and stuff, like, I don't know. Not sure how to word at the moment, but anyway. Let's move on to the first topic. Alright, so it's about time. I am in the search for a new chair. I'm fed up with this thing. Listen to it. This especially. Fucking, I hate it. Especially the noise it gets to me. The comfort is not bad, it's not too comfortable though. Like even just leaning back, it makes that noise. I'm not even moving my centre of balance. It's fucking annoying, but I'm in the search for one basically, and I need to get this one right. It needs to last years, it needs to not have these same issues after a year or even months, because this only lasted months before it started making noise. And the gas, pipe, I forgot what it's called actually, the gas pump started going. I don't have much choice, and even with the gas pump gone, I can just put a cushion on it, and that fixes the problem, really enough. Well, this height problem. I've got two cushions underneath me being absolutely flattened. Legs are not even hitting the table, like I'm bouncing up, and they're just not fucking doing it, which is good. But even then, I'm at the right height, which is more important than that. But it looks like I'm searching for something very specific at this point, and I'm looking at a Herman Miller Airborne, which I'm going to have to somehow find a way to get, because I think it's really expensive. I think it sold at £1,300 as the cheapest, and yeah, I'm going to have to finance that probably. There's no way I can actually afford that, which sucks, but it might be a long-term investment. Like, what are people saying? Like, As someone owned it for over 5 years, I need to look that up actually, that's a good point. Because I like to look at product reviews of things, like first obviously like initial impressions, and then look at how long it lasts. So if I'm getting a phone, I'll do that. If I'm getting a chair now, I will do that as well. Especially with such an investment involved in it. So, Miller, everyone's first search result, which is weird. 5 years later. Because if it lasts that long, it's going to be worth it. It's the same fucking channels again. Like, this can't call BTO TV. Like, BTOD TV. Like, why the fuck are you making so many videos on the same thing? Just fuck off. For like a smaller channel, here's one, 631 views after 5 years. Likely no conflict of interest, 73 subscribers. Although there is a code, I think. Is that? It's just a bit weird. But I'll try this, I guess. Assuming it's not a re-upload. I don't know. But I'm doing research, and also the requirements, basically. I need to have it suitable for my ulcerative colitis, meaning like when I have a flare-up of mucus and start creating unfortunate smells, I need to basically be able to air myself out and, you know, not have it bother me, essentially. So, like, if I'm sweating, it's going to cause more problems. It's a horrific detail, yes, but a detail nonetheless I need to address. I don't got the rhymes, so don't rely. Yeah, but essentially that's what needs to happen. But it sucks because I do not want ulcerative colitis, and people might be saying, like, oh, you just solved the ulcerative colitis problem. Because that ain't the only fucking problem. When I go for a crap on the toilet, I'm coming out of it sweating because I've shit my guts out, for starters. I feel quite ill afterwards, and I just don't enjoy using the toilet in the slightest. It's fucking hellish. I just hate using the toilet in general, not just for like crapping, but pissing as well. I don't like it because I can't reach over the top. That's fucking annoying. I'm not ashamed to admit it, but I've got a foreskin problem, and there just doesn't seem to be many like solutions around that, which sucks. So yeah, like, it's really annoying, really complicated. I don't really have an easy solution. But I suppose it ties into like the other thing, like I hate sitting here sweaty in the summer, and I just want something where it can reach my back end. And the best option for me that I realised is a mesh chair, which also is rare to find because when I was looking at chairs before, they didn't fucking show anything affordable. So even then, like, there's one on my Amazon list, but again, it's like I don't know if I want that. Like, it's expensive, but also it's cheaper than a Herman Miller, so it's really annoying. It's annoying stuff, to be honest. I can't stand this shit. Like, doing any sort of research on these things can be fun, but it needs to be fair. It needs to be showing you a reliable thing, a reliable solution. And more often than not, it doesn't. Like, here it is, okay, £232, 4.2 stars, and let's see what they say. It's got noise, sturdiness, and support, which is nice, but it's got good comfort and appearance. It's basically a Herman Miller Aeron, but it looks less reliable. It's weird saying it's good for tall and heavy people, but this person isn't tall and heavy, which is weird. Like, fuck, very squeakable, like, not good, so that goes off the list, I think. There's people have tested it, no point. But yeah, but I'm even like looking for alternatives, like something I could put on top of my chair. So I found this like gel cushion cover, breathable honeycomb design, and I don't know if it is effective or anything, but something like that could help. Something with plenty of like air holes, basically like a croc, but Crocs, you know, notoriously have the holes in the shoes that you wear, like clogs, but got holes in it. Don't know where you get the crock from there. But that seems like the sort of thing I need to look for in said products. And I even want something like that for my bed, to be honest. Because I also struggle in bed. I could barely get to sleep when it's like blistering heat and there's no air getting to my backside. That's the only point at which I'm really uncomfortable, other than lacking the ability to breathe. It's also the heat that just gets trapped, and it's just a consistent point. I'm not going to put ice under me or my ass. It's going to create mold if I do that, probably. It's just not reliable. So I'd rather not do something like that, even though it is viable. You know, just redo the ice and stuff. I'm not sure how bad it will get in terms of smell, though, of bacteria. But yeah, I can't risk that, and that's why I need these alternatives. Even then, with the bed situation, it's possible that there are like covers out there, maybe, or toppers that can reduce the temperature, and I don't know if they can or not. I think it will vary. But assuming there is, then that's going to be a go-to for me. I think there's no other way around it. I don't think there. But yeah, like, what do I even say? It's just fucking wacky, this situation. I can't believe it myself. But with summer pretty much around the corner, on top of getting new shorts, I'm having to get new shit like this, which it's not ideal either. It costs me so much fucking money. People again might say that, why don't you just lose weight? Why don't you just, I don't know, do something? But there's no fucking point. You know, this is my comfort, and I have to address it the way I can. But I'm also not willing to lose weight, because my weight, as far as I know at the moment, isn't too much of a problem. Like, yeah, it's causing issues. Well, the weight is, but not my body thing. Because people might think, like, oh, you must be extremely fat if you're 145 kilograms or 138 last time I checked. But that's not even like telling the story, because guess what? I am not that appearance, so I'm actually way thinner for someone who is that weight. But it's so fucking weird. Like, my waist is like 50 inches, so measure that up and you'll see. Like, grab a tape measure, wrap it around, measure it with your finger, and you'll see how big that is. And yeah, it's bigger than the average person for sure, but it's a men's fucking size. So that already increases it. Because I think men have structurally bigger bones, if I'm not mistaken, bigger fat themselves as well, muscle. Obviously more muscle as well. That's another big thing. Yeah, I really don't know. It's so fucking annoying, and I'm asking for advice, but I'm not really sure if I'm going to get that at this point. Again, it really bothers me that this is even a thing. I want this to be fucking over and done with. I want to stop having to worry about this and shop for it. It's fucking ridiculous. Just sick and tired of constantly finding these things I need to shop for. Even though there's still things I need to buy, and I'm not getting the money for it. It's pretty much impossible. I pretty much damn need the money. It's getting urgent now. So yeah, I don't know what to add, but it's just the gist of it, I guess. What's the other crime? Oh yeah, the armrest. It's been an age-old issue. I managed to solve it before, so I'll probably solve it again anyway. But, you know, armrests need to be able to go up and down, like my current chair can, although the left one's somewhat loose. It's really annoying. So I had to basically put a wire behind it, because I don't use the arms, that's the thing. I don't exactly need the arms to essentially support me, I don't use them. You know, my desk is the arm itself, and that is more than enough. I can tuck myself under, like I am now. It gets me in a comfortable position. Definitely works. There's not really many issues with that, because my arm's always going to be over the top anyway. It's like a non-issue, so I don't care about the arms. They just need to not be in the way when I'm playing guitar. And that's all. And maybe if I'm moving, that's another thing. yeah, I don't really know what to add here. Pretty much touched on everything I can. But oh my god, what a fucking annoyance this is. So yeah, I will have to rewatch this video because I'm pretty sure I saw it before, but I need to refresh my memory on it before obviously making such a big investment. Yeah, it's gonna have to be finance. Also, speaking of which, I think I've almost paid off my Spectre base because obviously I can't afford that in one go. Like, it's the same price with enough. But I've had to pay that. It's not the same actually. It's about 300 more. But I've had to pay that through finance because guess what? I can't afford these things. I'm not paid enough to support my own hobbies, and again, like, people will be up, why not get something cheaper? Well, because the cheapest things don't fucking work, and they are not reliable. That's why I do these research pieces on them. Hence, looking at a 5-year-old Herman Miller, hence looking at phones after that amount of time. There's so many different reasons. I was like, I bought this fucking channel, there we go, block. It was in the suggestions, so there we go. It's good. Yeah, I'm not sure what else there is to talk about. Anyway, I think I better actually move on now, because I think I've done everything. I think I can. So yeah. Something I've been thinking about, and excuse the tapping noises. What are the funniest aspects of every game I've played in memory? Because obviously myself being a casual gamer, things have changed, and I'm wondering what exactly was the most fun aspects of every game I've ever played. And I'm thinking even far back as like GTA San Andreas and Left 4 Dead 2, which was in its own way extremely fun. Like, depending on what you did, but it was generally fun. And I'm thinking like maybe start with like Sonic games, I suppose, and you know, it's kind of hard to say. Like, Game Genie and the platforming Sonic games were fun because you obviously unlocked things that you couldn't have got before, like Hypersonic, obviously Infinite Rings and stuff. And I think you could even like get a debug mode, which was harder to use, but that might have been a different thing. Actually, now I think about it, it's like a Sega collection. But then there's like Sonic Heroes and Sonic Adventure, which are harder to do, and you could get cheats for it eventually, but it wasn't as good as you would have hoped it to be, because it wasn't like useful cheats, it's more like Infinite Rings and stuff. But there wasn't like any Super Sonic, which kind of sucked. And what were the fun aspects of like that anyway without that to begin with? And I don't know, it's probably like doing some of the speed levels and stuff, like obviously running around and like on the early levels especially. It's kind of fun, but completing the game wasn't. That's the weird thing about that. GTA San Andreas, which surprisingly was like one of the next games I ever played after that. Probably just roaming around using cheat codes. I had an entire list written down. I got the cheat codes online, I wrote them down, did the inputs and stuff, and what do you know, it resulted in some fun. And there was actually a way in co-op to avoid the what's it called? Oh fuck, I'm trying to think what they're called now. But there's a way to avoid the terrible like notoriety level, because I couldn't get past the forklift part in that game where you go to the docks, I think it was, or cargo area. And that was so difficult to me. Like, it just didn't really help that aspect of it. So it kind of fucking sucked, in all honesty. And I just didn't enjoy it for that reason. But eventually though, you know, I just enjoyed it for the cheat codes. Obviously later on I looked at YouTube videos and just nostalgia a lot. It is extremely fun to look at the YouTube videos where they modded it and stuff, and only later did I discover something like San Andreas multiplayer, where it was actually kind of fun. Like, it did actually pretty much work. Like, San Andreas multiplayer allowed you to do things that you wouldn't be able to do, like RC cars, and well, in the normal game anyway you couldn't do that, but RC cars, RC planes, helicopters, And even like gunfights, which I don't think were that common exactly in like, multiplayer games at the time. Yeah, because it's like the era of like Halo 2 or 3 maybe? It's like 2007, 2008, so maybe it was actually like Halo 3 sort of era, so it's not as a common a thing. Maybe Quake was more common in CS, obviously. But yeah, like, I had like blasts here and there, for sure, on that. It wasn't too amazing. But the next game I played after that was Burnout Paradise. Holy shit. The most fun I ever had on that was actually the Big Surf Island DLC, weirdly enough. Because, sorry, it had some of the most interesting car unlocks, and as much as I liked exploring stuff in the game, driving around anyway at high speeds, Big Surf Island was actually like the best DLC ever. I remember that quite well. And it's honestly so good that I remember at some point I got the Vanity Pack on PC, and before they obviously re-released it, because there's no way to get the DLC on PC, which is stupid. And I just sort of like fell in love with it again. I made screenshots and stuff. With my own personal screenshots. But yeah, that was fun exploring Big Surf Island. There was so much detail. It's like vertically dense, which was quite unusual for Burnout Paradise, given that many of the other areas in the game aren't that dense, I don't think. Yeah, they're genuinely fun. It has to be said. After that, that was the next big game I played. Probably Sims 2. It's probably like building stuff in The Sims 2. I did quite enjoy that. Roller Coaster Tycoon. I enjoyed killing people. Same in Sims 2 actually, but it wasn't as fun in that because it required a lot more. But Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 was a classic. Then the game after that, it's hard to remember because it's so long ago. It's like 20 years we're talking. Almost 20 years, like 18 years probably. Yeah, like what are we looking at here? I'd say the next game is probably Left 4 Dead 2, weirdly enough. Even though it was like 2012, but technically I think that's right. But Left 4 Dead 2, initially I started out with like, you know, survival rounds, and eventually I got onto Versus, and Versus was fun in its own way. But it felt very incomplete in my opinion, and kind of lazy in some ways. Then I tried like Fort Survival, which was a fun but very forgotten mode, because Fort Survival allowed you to create forts for, well, avoiding zombies, and I think the waves got increasingly more difficult, but the thing with Fort Survival is you're pretty much invincible if you do it right. So nothing could reach you, and you just build random structures. You could build something out of cars, you could build so many different things. Eventually I got onto 10v10 versus, which if anyone's ever tried it, boy, you're in for a treat. It's fucking nuts. Like, you've got 10 players versus 10, obviously player infected, but, you know, 10 survivors, 10 infected, but it could be also AI. Not necessarily versus, but, you know, I mean, in versus, yeah, but not infected, I mean. But you would get AI players, and that would make it funny, and you could also, yeah, often switch teams with them, so it's actually kind of convenient too. You could actually practice your infected skills in that. And I'd argue that that's probably some of the most fun there is, because it's so fucking chaotic. Like 10 special infected versus that, and then you got to contend with like swarms and stuff. And it was always funny to get to the the safe room and then just randomly open the door for a hunter or so to get in. There's always some funny trolling in that. I don't think it's ever not boring. And after that is like TF2. I won't go into Portal or Half-Life 2 because I always sort of cheated in that with developer console. But TF2, I think peak fun was not Surf. I started out with Surf. Prop Hunt, kind of fun. Some frustrations with that actually, like exploits and stuff. MVM, not fun. No, that's horrible. But casual actually is the most fun I've had on TF2, like in actually recent times. wasn't back then, but it was recently. But back then I would have said it'd have to be just the surf maps, I guess. So that's changed now. So yeah. And then after that game, it was like Saints Row the Third, the first non-shooter game I played, or is shooter, not first person. And I think the most fun I had in that was also Chico as the first, but then I just realised it was actually fun to play through. So I enjoyed it for that, and then Just Cause 2 I played thanks to a friend, and I enjoyed that for flying and stuff. It's actually really good for flying. Quite unique for a game like that, and Battlefield 3 eventually. Played that quite a bit. Most fun in that is probably flying the jets. It's really interesting to have like dogfights because my friend was really into like plane combat. That reminds me of Tony Hawk's. Not Tony Hawk's, what? Tom Clancy's Hawks, that's it. That was a really interesting game, but not as good. I didn't really enjoy it. It's hard to enjoy because it's like so sweaty. It's like the competitive shooter of them days, I think, except for planes. But also going to Transformers, played like War for Cybertron, which was okay multiplayer wise. It wasn't anything special, but it's fun to sort of play around with the vehicles. I also loved how it looks. It's quite unique for what it is. Actually, how good were they? Because I've obviously got an artist, not intuition but direction, I guess. Transformers War for Cybertron can be mistaken for Fall of Cybertron, which is different, but War for Cybertron was like the first game, 2010, Jesus. It wasn't that old when I first played it then. Okay, that's not gameplay though, I want to see a gameplay. Yeah, like, it's actually some really well-aged graphics, holy crap. That is fucking nuts. I'm actually fucking Georgia, what the hell? Because I think like GTA San Andreas was only like 2 or 4 years ago before this. And even then Just Cause came out the same year, I think, as Transformers here. Wow. You can't see the vehicles though, it's a bit annoying that Transformers, although there's one actually, Starscream. So, is he not flying? Huh. A bit unusual actually, oh he's flying there. Also, are they even gendered? I never realised that with Transformers. Probably not, but then you got like oh what's that? That lady one, Archon? No. RC, that's it. I think it's RC. I don't know. But it is interesting. Yeah, besides that later on, as I play Saints Row 4, it's fun to be super powerful in that and just explore and beat things up really easily. And after that, it'd be more TF2, but then I'd go into GTA 5. Fucking hell, I was forgotten about that. GTA Online is just fun to explore the map rather than do anything else. Heist was shit. Races weren't very fun, at least before they added creation stuff. Creation ones look fun, and I did play with a few, I think, later on, but it still wasn't great. I actually won like my first ever race on, first ever creation on that, I remember that. It's so weird. I don't know how I remember that though. Yeah, like, the other fun aspects, which arguably is morally questionable, but in my opinion I think it's justified. I used to use a modding menu to basically attack other modders, because I was so fucking fed up of them basically killing everyone in the game. I just got a menu that nobody else could obtain, and also got banned for using that menu as well, like, not just by Rockstar but the menu creators themselves. And yeah, I just blew everyone up, because not everyone, I mean fucking modders, every modder I encountered. And then spawned things in, like flying yachts and flying anything really. I even created some things actually, because it had the option to meld things. So that was also quite fun for that. And also you can like disrupt cutscenes in like heists and stuff. So I found that funny. You can just like spawn random vehicles on you and kill the guy almost. It wouldn't fail with the mission, it'd just make a glitch out. But I had a lot of fun with the menus actually. Definitely made the game more enjoyable, weirdly enough. It sort of makes you wish it was there for single player. Technically they do work there, but again, violates Rockstar policy, so you're not technically allowed to use it, which sucks. Yeah, after GTA 5 CSGO I didn't really like, so I won't go into that. Did play it for a while though. What else? Garry's Mod, I forgot to mention that. Sandbox, I fucking love Garry's Mod. It was really fun to explore creations. I tried using Y-mod and stuff, and I even tried using advanced expression, but I couldn't figure that out because it's like coding stuff. But that is also like a coder's sort of dream, I think, because it's kind of got that element to it. I've seen some insane creations in that, like RC helicopters and RC cars, and also like weapons as well, like fully made turrets which can actually kill players. It's actually insane what people do with that stuff. And they've even seen like massive creations, like using no props, just expression too. But it was fun to explore that. And there's besides like TTC and stuff and prop hunt, and even roleplay, which had its own niche, but actually then again, am I remembering it right? I don't think so, but I did go into like a My Little Pony roleplay once, and I got sexually assaulted. Not fun, but in the context, kind of. It's just stupid shit, but anyway. Yeah, it's very strange. Garry's Mod definitely had its good sides and bad sides. But after that, I was fed up with TF2, and I got into Overwatch, and Overwatch was fun for the casual element. When you stacked Genji or Hanzo away from Torbjorn, Torbjorn was hilarious because you had the armor thing, which did nothing. Don't know if anyone remembers, but you throw down armor. And everyone else's abilities were kind of broken, like Hanzo would one-shot you with the E skill. What's the other one? I swear there's another broken hero. Either way, it was like fun to stack that, and it just made a lot of sense, really. It just was fun. There's no denying that, and also the skins and stuff were pretty good. That's probably one of the biggest appeals of it. And everyone was like collecting it too. It definitely had its time and its niche, for sure. But it's a shame that they've obviously lost that. It used to be 6v6 too, for anyone unaware. But that's really when it started to go wrong, I think. Because they started adding competitive. 6v6 existed for a while. But then they grouped everyone into categories and then did a 2-2-2 stack, basically. So 2 tanks, 2 healer, 2 DPS, you get it. But the most fun was probably the quick matches and casual, and also these unstacked things. Also, actually no, I'm wrong. None of that. WarioWare. Someone made a WarioWare mod for Overwatch. Well, not mod, but you know, custom match. It's like a thing they have, like a coding thing, and there was even a Discord for it, and I happily supported it. It's so fucking fun. I played it with my friends, and I think we all universally agreed it was good. That was honestly some of the most fun I've had, because it's such a good mod as well. Like, it just does things right, and even though I'm not a WarioWare person, it was just fun to go through because it was new, it was different for Overwatch. Definitely adding an element of funness to it. I think even like TF2 even attempted something like that, but it didn't do as well because, well, it wasn't executed properly. Yeah, Wario, or Overwatch, whatever it's called, that was genuinely good. But the other thing is actually, like the boss one, like there's 2 custom matches actually that works really well. There's that, and then the boss. The bosses were fucking hilarious sometimes, because you got, I think, a hero with like randomised abilities or something, and the abilities would do random things, but there's like, several in my video clips, I think. I was just like dying of laughter because like, Hanzo can infinitely jump, like the boss gets infinite abilities and a ton of health, and you have to try and kill him, but we were just running around the map trying to catch up as like a different hero, like everyone was stacked as one specific hero to counter it, and it was just hilarious. So it was always kind of fun, and sometimes you'd get the boss in like the corner or something, and be able to escape. It's some crazy shit. But those were the good old days. Speaking of like 2020 something, I think. Possibly, it's actually 2022 was probably the last I ever played it, because Overwatch 2 came out shortly after, if I'm not mistaken, and just sucked. Anyway, after Overwatch, when I took a break, I played like Heroes of the Storm, and that wasn't fun. World of Warcraft had some fun elements. I like the story quests when obviously they're not being removed. Well, it's mainly like the questing zones, actually, more like not the actual story. Stories were actually kind of weird because they weren't complete, and there was obviously bits missing, so that didn't help. But not really anything else in that, in all honesty. So, yeah, kind of sucked overall, which is not good. Then I moved on to finishing GTA San Andreas, but didn't do well. I played like other games I replayed. Yeah, Just Cause 3, I loved exploring in that. Even when replaying it, I just sort of loved the exploration aspect. It's such a fucking nice looking game. Just wish it performed better. Could do without the internet walling and stuff. What else have I played? I've played plenty of others in between, like smaller games like Shades, Leaving Window, same games technically. Harry's Odyssey, Monument Valley, I fucking love those. They're not necessarily fun factors, but they are good in their own way. What was that game? It probably is Monument Valley. I do have the third game in my wish list, I think. Did think about buying it, but I'm not entirely sure. Not that I'm skeptical about it, I think I am confident it's going to be good, but I'm just going to wait until I have time, and then we'll see. Oh. But after that, I didn't really play many others. Got into Doom Eternal. The fun aspect on that was, to be honest, like, the multiplayer was kind of fun in some ways. A bit stupid, but somewhat fun. It just needed a lot of improvement. It was only fun to play the Doom guy. It sucked. Yeah, the gun gameplay in that actually was pretty goated, and that was always fun. Just learning the quick swapping and stuff. Collecting obviously stuff from other battle passes they had. Yeah, not really much else on that, to be honest. After that, it was probably, how am I thinking? Genshin Impact. I could go into that actually in the gacha games, unfortunately. Genshin Impact had a pretty fun story, even though it's slow as fuck and not getting to the point. It was still fun. I enjoyed a lot of the dialogue and story moments. Some parts of the gameplay were good, I would admit, still lacking. Even as Nog Cries here, and I'm watching people play it. I watched it a few months ago. You know, still lacking a lot of things, in all honesty. So it's kind of hard to rate that. Exploration was nice. I always found myself enjoying the jaw-dropping moments where there was great scenery. What's the other thing? Probably move on to the longer story. There wasn't much for that. The dialogue was good and funny at points. Like, I love some of the in-jokes as well, like the trash can searching. Like, oh, it's just a trash can. And then obviously they emphasised it, made entire jokes about it, and even story points. Like, they actually appeared in the story. Yeah, that's a thing. I made some cursed creations with that. Yeah, obviously I quit at that point, at some point rather. And moved on to Deep Rock Galactic. It was before Honkai Star Rail though. Deep Rock Galactic is extremely fucking fun, it still is. I still think just going around with a random dwarf lobby and pinging everything in sight, and then everyone else just joining in with that, it's hilarious and never gets old. And then even some of the dwarfs, like, sometimes you get some players that are just random. They do weird things, like they'll ping you constantly, or like me, I build a pipeline quite weirdly, or just do batshit insane things. I even tried to blow up a scout. Like, I don't do that on purpose, but I do. in like specific scenarios, only where it's necessary, all the time. But I don't know. It's really hard to pinpoint with Deep Rock because there's so many different areas which it does well. I like collecting things. It's kind of fun to do that. It's fun to do all the battle pass as well. Maybe putting a few hours aside to do that. Happened during my fate farming in Final Fantasy, which is annoying. Yeah, like over the years it's still remained fun. But I will say actually, modded lobbies can be fucking insanely fun. Some of the most fun I've had in gaming, I think, because they just have some insane moments. Like sometimes they spawn a lot of mobs, or it's like flying cave leeches, which I still fucking love to this day. They're so funny. But I imagine there's going to be like flying pigeons or something at some point. I haven't seen them yet, even though I've played a few modded lobbies. But even then, like being in a modded lobby where we have like multiple players, obviously it's most of them anyway. I only ever play those. That's the only time I do has 5. Fun fact. It's more difficult, technically speaking. Got more ways to die essentially. But yeah, we're in this also in depths area, and you know we basically pinged the picture constantly for like I don't know, like 30 seconds or something until someone came along and shot it. But that's like a funny peak moment there. Yeah, Deep Rock just still good, and the mods also sort of help that to an extent. Yeah, I enjoyed putting like the Deltarune soundtrack over the original. Not to say that the original was bad. I just think the Deltarune soundtrack feels more comforting overall. It's like it works a lot better with Enough. I'll say that. With Enough, it fits almost perfectly. Even like crazier or just more goofy songs like Big Shot just work so much better in Deep Rock than it does Deltarune. It's so weird. Yeah, you have to see it for yourself as a mod out there. Trust me. Then the next game, hopefully I'm remembering it the right order. Rocksmith? I still play Rocksmith, yeah. It's not the right order though. I played Rocksmith long after TF2, I think. But somewhere in between, I think. And, you know, the fun for me was learning songs. It always has been. Because I did the lessons for a while and I liked them, but they didn't really help. So I've rather learn songs, and so I did, and that's where I've ended up where I am. Enjoying playing songs and eventually getting into custom DLC, transcribing my own music to put in there. And yeah, well, not my own music, obviously, other people's music, other artists. Yeah, that's kind of the gist of it anyway. Just playing guitar and bass, even bass is quite fun depending on the artist. You do get some really bad basses every now and then, but it's luckily if you know who to look for, it's pretty easy to find the good stuff. You just look for basses with melodic ideas or just really good feel for rhythm. Like, honestly, you can't go wrong with like someone like Steve Harris, for example. Just to name one. And that's quite on the side of like fairly easy to play anyway. But I like the difficult tracks in Rocksmith, even the impossible ones. Like some Polyphia is quite fun. Polyphia is like harder than Dragon Force, just for the record. Even Obscura can be a bit harder than like some other tracks, like especially the Fountainhead stuff. Yeah, but I still play Rocksmith to this day. I tried to find excuses for years, and I did eventually. I decided, okay, I'm going to play this for a bit every day. And I've tried Rocksmith Plus because I want to find more artists, and I've ended up enjoying it. It's been pretty good so far. Yeah, other than that, Final Fantasy XIV, we've got here finally. The final game in here, I believe. Unless I've missed something, and look. Nope, can't see anything else, so it's Final Fantasy XIV it is. Yeah, actually kind of hard to say, I'll be honest. Because there's so many good things about Final Fantasy XIV, but there are also simultaneously very bad things. But I'd say one of the funner aspects is probably dungeons. Weird enough, I quite enjoy dungeons. Some mechanics are a bit stupid and hard, but they're quite fun to go through with a team, obviously, and randoms. Even new players can be quite fun to be around. PvP is like the least enjoyable. I will mention that briefly. It's one of the worst fucking modes I've ever seen. Trying to think what other casual things are there. A-Train's not really. Damn, it's so hard to list them. Like, what's on my weeklies as well? Damn it, I can't find my scenarios. I don't know, actually. I'm actually starting to have a fucking existential crisis, what the hell? There isn't actually much. Oh, actually, yeah, stories and quests and stuff. Like, even grey quests can be kind of fun. I do enjoy that. Making glams for your characters also can be really interesting. Like, what I've got here is like a mishmash of different outfits, and they're not the same outfit, by the way. But I've also got like other crazier ones. Like, my black mage is pretty insane. It's probably my best glam yet, but quite interesting too. Colours and stuff, it just works so well. And they've got like Scholar as well, even though it's quite basic, it's still got something. There's another one I did something interesting for. Oh, yeah, my warrior did like a maid thing, but with like a fantasy twist with this obviously amazing axe. Who else? Like Samurai did a similar thing, a more mythical sort of being. Red Mage, similar. Yeah, I basically glammed out everyone I could, with as much as I could. Speaking of which, I do need to update my dragon at some point. White Mage is one that's incomplete. But yeah, like glams, as I said, are fun. Especially Ninja, I like Ninja. You can see why. Yeah, my ass is covered, obviously. I'm really good to do with updating, but I'm not fussed at the moment. Yeah, but there's so many different things in this game. It's hard to list what exactly is a favourite because there's so many good things. Even then, just like AFKing in a city and seeing a band can be fun in its own way. Collecting certain amounts of minions can be its own sort of fun. Even like gambling stuff. I've seen so many funny things in just Duty Finder alone, like alliance raids and normal raids can be fun sometimes, not all the time though. It's stupid rules, so main scenario not fun, trials kind of fun, leveling kind of fun, high level dungeons kind of fun. Expert and level camp are boring. They got boring really quickly rather. And there's nothing in high end duties that's actually any good in my opinion. Even the Unreal, which I've done multiple times now, not worth it. But yeah, I just enjoy exploring content in this game. It really has that going for it, in my opinion. And it's kind of hard to say what the best of the best thing is. I have plenty of moments where I've laughed and I've cried tears of joy and stuff. But I don't know, undoubtedly it has to be the story. It's the most fun aspect. Plenty of funny moments in the MSQ, and you have some good blue quests too here and there. Not all the time. But anyway, I think that's all, so better move on. Yeah. There's somehow even more Pokemon Champions drama. Just fucking insane. I don't understand how you fuck it up this badly. What are you doing? Apparently it's made by the company who made Pokemon Blue Diamond Shining Pearl, which at the moment I'm playing. So I'm still waiting to see if there's anything really bad about it. But Pokemon Champions, like at the moment, it just seems in a really bad state for both competitive and casual players because it already seems to have broken elements. I've seen like status effects being mistaken for like HP heals and stuff, something like that. Maybe the other way around. I've seen Mega Evolutions being busted. I've seen compositions that busted as well, for that matter. There's apparently like a status effect change that they made to the game, which honestly, I think, I don't know, it's not traditional Pokemon, but at the same time, if it does make other things more relevant, then I think I'd argue it's kind of useful, but it does really change the meta, like to a point where, you know, if you've never used something like poison, apparently is what helps it now. So they changed like burning, freezing, and something else, I think, or paralysis. But it gets more used to that, and I don't know, it's kind of a good change, but at the same time, it feels kind of tone deaf too. It's very weird, and I'm not sure about it personally because obviously I'm not a Pokemon master myself. You know, I just play through the games of whatever team I end up with. But yeah, very strange, and I've seen people say like the VP needed to respec and stuff is too punishing. And I've seen players disagree with that for some reason. I don't know why. But obviously, it's something you have to try for yourself, but still, it's a bit stupid. And I think there's a case of items not working properly. There's also like a speed stat issue with Mega Evolutions. Because for some reason the animations go in a different order. Because it should go fastest first, but instead it goes like slowest first, which is bizarre. Small nitpick though, that is overall. Also, it's like trainer speed, technically speaking, rather than Pokemon speed. What else has there been? I'm trying to think. The other bits are. Overall, I've just seen mainly complaints about the game, and even then, you got the most fucking dick-sucking parts of the community, mainly the Reddit, which I've seen, saying that it's not actually a bad game, even though it very much is. They have no concept or clue what a fucking bad game is, which tells us a lot. Yeah, I'll have a look in a second, see what there is. Although I ain't got much time actually. Fuck. I'll try to look quickly. /Pokemon. Pokemon. Let's see. Is it gonna load? This is. Found out more stuff that's not relevant. Yeah, there is a lack of maps, so I did see that. And what does the messages over Pokemon say? It's a weird thing in the game. They put messages in, not messages, subtitles. So it's not actually a message, it's a title. I'm not sure why they use it, was it like that. But it says like name and then the Great. So Orthworm the Great. That is confusing. Where did that come from? There goes my excitement for the game. In Sick Battles, you'll select 3 Pokemon. Battle team sending out 1 at a time. So battle victory goes to training and defeats all their opponent's Pokemon. Yeah, that's not 6v6. I don't know if that's one I can wait on this. More fan art. More thoughts. Yeah, like Ditto can apparently transform into Megas. I didn't know that was possible. I don't know if it is possible. That was a bit strange. Another thing. I'm mainly going off Reddit here, but even then, people just seem to not be very open to criticism I've seen. Trying to see. Beginner's guide, nope. Interested in that. Communication issues, nice. That what? It's a surprising lack of posts on it, I'll say. Given how groundbreaking it's supposed to be. Someone's saying they've got a shiny in it in Pokemon Champions. Someone's saying the Pokemon are too small, but apparently that's one of the things that's going for it. Apparently these are true to size Pokemon, and this like shiny Salazzle was like tiny. I think it's Salazzle. Yeah, it's really interesting that they did that as one really good thing, because I've had complaints about the size of the Pokemon. Like Wailord's supposed to be giant, but you know, Salazzle I didn't even realise was small until here. The gold job looks accurate to size, taller than you. Let's go as Pokemon Scarlet. Someone just KO'd a fucking shiny Litten. Fuck's sake. Oh, rip. I just didn't even know you could get Litten in Scarlet Violet. That's weird. Maybe it's because you don't have the Sun and Moon games on Switch yet. Maybe that's why. Yeah, I've seen some goofs as well in this. There's people using the Palafin for some reason and Ditto to be 4 Palafins at once, I think. There's some goof. Yeah, like Pokemon Champions again is a very questionable game still, which again is not a good sign. And it really didn't need the additional purchases. I think that really adds to a detriment there. But if you were also public about updating the game, then players maybe would have been more on board and playing it more. But you're not, and you've just under-delivered for some reason. For what, a fucking deadline? But is that worth ruining your reputation and your brand for? Because as we're seeing nowadays, it's even likely that certain companies get shut down for it. Like, I see these being the developers for a different game as well. You would have thought they would have been more experienced, but not really. It seems. Again, it seems like they're just being thrown with a plate load of work or like piles of work, and there's been no communication or no sort of solidifying the, I don't know what to call it, finding a proper meta in terms of designing it and creating it. Again, it's like a massive disappointment. It could have been the thing that brought me to the Switch 2, but it's not competent enough in my opinion. It just feels very lacking. And even then, I want to wait for a decent game on there and for something like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet to be properly patched, to be looking nice and have decent elements to it. That's essentially what I'm waiting for at the end of the day with Switch 2, and I guess that ties into this topic too. To an extent that, yeah, it's a new topic, it's really. I cannot stand the fact that the Switch 2 is being underutilized by Pokemon games and stuff. It's just really bad. There could be so much more being done, so many great things like better post-processing, better textures, better geometry as well, let's not forget that. But they're just completely fucking botching it. Like, what do I even describe this as? It's just bad. It's unbelievable. And I don't understand how. You've got all the resources here, you're not even doing that bare minimum. And like, what's going on in management? Like someone saying, oh, we need to work on Pokemon Winds and Waves now, we got the amount of money we need from Scarlet Violet, let's jump ship and go to the next game. It's just fucking ridiculous. And that definitely makes me second guess like getting a Pokemon game again. Or like a new one, I mean. Yeah, even then it'd have to be physical. I wouldn't take it if it was digital, to be honest. I really miss my physical games in all honesty. I think there's kind of a very niche thing there, but also quite meaningful too. Hence, like Brilliant Diamond, when I got that, saw the map inside, I was like, wow, you know what, this is fucking amazing. I honestly could buy another physical game for anything at this point, other than PC, DVDs and stuff, but it feels like a USB. You know, not bad. I think that could work, possibly. Maybe I can install it, I don't know. It's kind of hard to say, but that's like the gist of it anyway. Yeah, Pokemon Champion's still bad, so let's move on. This is what a live refutation is like, I have to say. I was thinking about, well, not thinking about, but debating actually what exactly goes into a subscription and what it used to be, weirdly enough. And I was like reminiscing about when you used to pay a subscription fee for, say, a comic or magazine, or just like even figurines. I think you can get as well. But if speaking about like 80s, 70s, maybe 90s or 60s, and you'd like pay for that, you'd get these updated articles or papers about something, and I don't know, you probably get like DVDs and VHS with that too. And I was thinking, why aren't subscriptions like this today? Like, why isn't TV and movies and all that like this, even games? And I initially thought maybe it's just to do with like trust issues, but I also started to realise that there is actually a drastic difference between the two. Because the niche with it is, say, you get a physical copy of something, and that is the fundamental difference. However, because everything's been digitalised, it has ruined everything. So, if I wanted to subscribe to something about, I don't know, let's say Pokemon, say there's still a physical copy going around of like the various guides and updates and stuff, still going around to this day. Or maybe even like PC Gamer magazine, like that used to be a thing, didn't it? But I'd subscribe to that. But nowadays you don't even need it. You just need social media and the internet. So that is the subscription essentially. And it is very different when it comes to physical media that you enjoy, because once again it's like a big difference. Where you'd obviously like pay for like a factual thing, like again facts about something, clouds maybe like that example. Nowadays you can just find it online. It's all there on Wikipedia. It's all there on even news articles, even like podcasts and interviews. And it's everywhere now, and that's why I think we can't really avoid the subscription model where we have access to everything in the library and not a single physical copy. It's sort of a complicated situation we made ourselves. I think the only argument I can make is that people who are trustworthy and not going to exploit it, I think they should be allowed to download whatever they want. Download an article, download Wikipedia, download anything. That's like subscribing to. Even though Wikipedia isn't a subscription, but you do pay for it, the internet though. Also, you can donate to Wikipedia too, which I'd consider paying for it. So yeah, but I think that's good though. I think if people can do that and not obviously exploit the fact, I think we've got basically a good old days sort of situation. Good old days rather. And assuming there's like a way to like batch download something, I guess. And maybe, I don't know, like a few TV shows that you enjoyed. That's something. Yeah, something to remember it by. It's like a memento. That's the thing that we're missing. Even like that, like manga and comics, all that sort of stuff. I think that matters. It's like I download images I find on the internet because I like having the memento of them. I like the sort of joy or the thought that they gave me. It really depends on what it is. That's why I download so many. That's why I even have like music as well in physical form. And what else is there? Like, what's it artwork? I don't really think there's anything else actually. Well, I can remember anyway. That's why I tend to like having my own version or my own copy of these things. Because it does matter in the end, and it's not a bad idea to just have a physical like copy of everything. You never know, like an infrastructure can go down, a streaming service can go down forever and you've lost that media. And then the only way to get it is to get these like scalped DVD cases or VHS tapes of an old show, or just rely on sketchy downloads for someone who obviously maybe isn't so like caring about others, like they're sharing like a virus or something. That's why again I say to do these things on an individual moral level rather than just a thing that's out of spite. I honestly wouldn't rat out someone who did that to download a TV show that they've subscribed for, whether it's Netflix or Disney or whatever. Like, I honestly don't care. It's not my business, and at the same time, I can't condemn you because you decided that you wanted a memento. You wanted to remember this and you have it downloaded backed up on a hard drive or something. I really don't think there's an issue in that. It doesn't belong to anyone. It's just out there. And again, you paid for it, so why not own it? That's sort of my point here. That's the thing that I find hard to argue against. It's when there's so much distrust that corporations somehow can't even trust you with downloading things, and then you have to take matters in your own hands, I guess. That's why it gets real complicated. Either way, I pretty much talked about everything there, but that's the gist of it. I do think this is an important topic though, to an extent. But yeah, hopefully people take note of this sort of thing, because that's what we should be heading towards in the ideal future. Because at the moment they could get rid of, say, the Simpsons or Squid Game or whatever it is, even something like Dark or One Piece. They can just decide that on the fly, and when they remove it, it's gone forever. Unless people have the DVDs for newer ones. But that's why I say there's like a pro-ownership stance that we should have. Honestly, I wouldn't be opposed to the idea if there was like an extension or something on a browser, or I don't know, maybe even just external software that can scan the stream, obviously, but be able to get an entire series just from like a few clicks. It wouldn't be bad, especially if you paid for it. This is the point. If you paid for it, you could do what you want with it. And obviously, like, piracy is a different thing. I think that's a different issue in itself, but that's to be decided after the fact. It's to be decided there and then. Like, whoever's the culprit in this situation. Again, trustworthy people, I think, are fine with it. I think they should be able to have physical copies without obviously redistributing it. Even then, like, back in the day, you would trade magazines, I think, if you were not happy with it, or maybe looking for something different. That's something you would do, I think. But anyway, yeah, it's just something to talk about. Again, I could be very wrong about this, but that's why I said there's sort of a live self-refutation, because I literally realised the flaw in it, and I've managed to repair it, essentially saying, it's again, the trust thing, and subscribing means you own it, because that is how subscriptions work. And I'm fed up of the rug balls, essentially, and I think everyone else is. So obviously do what you want. That's my advice here. So do what you want in the media. But anyway, let's move on. Well, I don't know what to call it. It's like an obsession epidemic, I guess. But that's in the news again recently, and I think I've got some things to say about that. Because I really think this is a situation where awareness beats, obviously, persecution. Obviously, these people do need to be imprisoned for good reason, but I'd argue that we need awareness of the problem, and that's where we have these issues to begin with. Much like other things, they are stemming from it, and in some cases, literally related. You know, sneeze. I'm allergic to discussing sensitive topics, I guess. But I literally can't see a world where people are happy with essentially letting these people run free. And I say this because it's not obvious to people, but we need to address these things once again at a fundamental level. Not the attack's already happened, the victim's already been made sort of level, which we've come to expect at this point. But I'd argue it's more about addressing the problem and where people sort of roll other people up with this. Say the guy who obsessed over Hazel from Fairly Odd Parents, which I haven't seen in a fucking long time. I remember Fairly Odd Parents, not my favourite show, but still. But the obsession clearly was about how quote-unquote perfect Hazel was, and that really shows an issue. Because that means that someone is clearly lonely and desperate enough to obviously have this obsession over a character who's also a child, by the way. And it means that there are definitely underlying mental health issues there. If I had to guess, it would be something like OCD and potentially even autism. Like, that's also a factor in this. It's not to say again that everyone has it. There are most definitely people who don't. But it does ring similar bells to, again, these mental health issues. And even speaking on a personal level, like, at some points I do get it. I do get the obsession, but at the same time I don't. Like the fact that she's a child, but I do get like personalities and stuff, like how that can even make you think that, you know, this character is like the best character for you. I've had hyperfixations myself on certain characters, not necessarily because of personality, but maybe appearance, or, you know, sometimes it is like personality. Like classic Tales, for example, extremely cute. You know, before 06, you had, I'm trying to think, Asriel and Undertale. It was very cute as well. There's Rousey and Deltarune, obviously, who's even cuter. Yeah, like, as I said, like, hyperfixations are definitely there. I do like certain characters more than others. Obviously, I'm a bigger fan of Tails than Sonic. I'm a bigger fan of Cream than Tails, believe it or not. Even in Undertale and Deltarune, technically, is there a character I like more than them? Not really, actually. I think they're just great characters, and you get obsessed or at least hyperfixated on them because they are characters you like, and I've even found ways to channel it, like fanfiction and artwork, in a way to sort of bring them to life, to make them the way I think they should have been made. Essentially, like in Undertale, for example, big spoiler, you abandon Asriel. You can either give him a hug or not, but you have to abandon him either way before you go to the overworld, which sucks. It's a really sad ending. Yeah, I would have wanted the best for Fluffy Boy, but no. Toby decided no, you don't get anything. So yeah, blame Toby. That's the moral of the story there. But yeah, I just use the like fanfiction artwork as a way to sort of overcome that. It's like, it's such a sad ending that I just don't feel satisfied. And even then, I've been frustrated enough with certain series. I obviously make my own review and stuff, but I also make an alternative. I make my own sort of fanfiction idea of these things or how they should have went. And that's obviously something that you're free to do. Why don't I put my slippers over there? I was wondering what my feet were cold. That's it. I have to wear them because too sensitive to the floor. That's the problem. Yeah, literally, these obsessions just happen because people have these issues and they're not even like tapped into, and it wouldn't surprise me if most of these cases are from people from the US because, well, their healthcare is utter shite. They don't get the help they need, and that's why this happens again and again. Like, governments are just as responsible in the US. Even someone like Obama, I'll throw him out on the bus there, in the bus, both. But literally, it's these people's faults because they don't actually give a shit. They don't give the proper funding for healthcare, and people suffer as a result. Like, what did you expect to happen? If someone's going homeless because they have a drug addiction and you couldn't actually help them with it, what do you fucking expect? Like, what do you think's going to happen? If they don't see any light at the end of the tunnel or anything, don't see any way out of it, or even like a eureka moment where it's like, oh, I'm going to give up drugs because of X thing, I can channel it into these things. But if they can't see that, then, you know, you're just purposely fucking them over, and it's like a human rights violation. And then, once again, they've been made homeless, and then they have no help. They can't get help because of the healthcare system being so broken. in the UK at least, you can get help for these issues, even if you go to a doctor. I know it's personally, it's happened to me before. But, yeah, it's quite frustrating. Again, I just can't comprehend the logic here. And rather than me criticise the people for these actions, even though they are fucking horrible, like even killing people, I have to say that those kills were caused by the government, they're caused by the healthcare system, because they weren't there for them, they weren't there to prevent it. It's just so bizarre. I just do not understand the logic. Yeah, and obsession as well, I think you just need to channel it. I think if it doesn't die down, the next time you move on from something, so say like, oh no, you finish something like, let's bring up like an oldie, sort of goldie I guess. Maybe you finished Grim Adventures with Billy and Mandy. I remember that as a kid. I didn't like it, to be honest, and I was tied to trauma because it was on when my parents were arguing and divorced. That's fun. But you sort of, you could get obsessed with that sort of thing, I guess. And you know, when you're done binging this show, even like Bluey, like fuck it, let's go Bluey route. When people get obsessed with that somehow, people literally just need to find something else. That's it. It's like the best antidote, and distance yourself from it. Unsubscribe from everything. Keep your, I don't know, like fan art away, whatever it is. There's just many different ways to address it, but you have to channel and ground it into something else. And you know, when that sort of channeling is over, when you're doing it about Bluey, again in this example, you move on to the next thing. You go to, I don't know, trying to think of other shows, like what the fuck is that? I can't even think of other kids shows because it's been so long since I've even looked at that side of things. I don't know, Peppa Pig is still around, I don't fucking know, but maybe not necessarily kids shows, that's the other thing. Like, just try to be more mature about these things as well, that will help you. So try to find things that are less like quote unquote kid friendly and more to do with being mature, so maybe something like Breaking Bad or Dark, both of which are quite mature shows and quite heavy as well to an extent. So I think that's really important to do, literally, because it just does prevent many of these issues, and it shows you can also grow up and grow out of these things and not have them as like a forefront thing. Like, hell, go on to One Piece. No doubt people will get an obsession over some characters because of, yeah, they're built a certain way, but that's far better than the alternative here, which is obsessing over children, obsessing over child characters, and even just voice actors who literally have nothing to do with your obsession other than a voice. It's just ridiculous. But either way, that's sort of my thoughts on this, and I'll see what I think should happen. Again, prevention is key. Once again, I have to bring that up. It feels way more important now than ever. Yeah, so don't really know what to say actually. Yeah, I forgot to toss everything. So yeah, let's move on. Can't remember anything. Can't remember if it's true or not, but I know one thing for certain. Pokemon anime. They aired some on the Twitch channel, some older episodes in their Team Rocket Takeover, and it's basically 6 episodes from Generation 1 and I think a bit from Generation 2 as well. But I have to say that some parts of it just are so edgy and haven't aged well. Some things I didn't even notice on the first time I ever watched it, like 10 years ago. Probably actually a bit more than 10 years ago now, too. Fucking hell. There's like dark humour here and there. Like there's one about James getting married and, you know, Team Rocket James. And like Meowth saying like he's gonna get a rope or something. It's really fucking weird. And then there's like this torture them, and it's like, the fuck is going on? Also, the way the episode starts, the fact that it has literally his parents, quote unquote, dead in a coffin right there in front of him. It's nuts. I've never seen an episode like it, especially for a kids show. You think like the ones they cast were like the Porygon one, which fair enough because it's flashing images, but the other one that's sort of less fair, which is the one where James has some inflatable boobs. You think like if they're allowed to get away with this, like mocking death and suicide, why couldn't they get away with the boobs? It makes no sense. And even then, people are aware that James is still technically a cisgender male. So, yeah, I just find that very weird. There's a lot of double standards there I noticed in the series, and also they ban episodes involving like a monkey quote-unquote behaviours, as if that's somehow racist, which it isn't, by the way. I don't know where the fuck people get it from. But, you know, portraying monkeys and even acting like one is not racist at all. Well, it's just fucking stupid kids do it all the time. You're gonna say kids are racist? Like, fucking come on. But then there's this other thing in the Pokemon anime which didn't age well in my opinion, and that is it's the animals. Yes, animals in Pokemon. Believe it or not, they used to exist there, and it's creepy as fuck. They have no place in this, because Pokemon was good for being separate from the real world and being completely different in a way where also they're not harming animals and stuff, and you know, animals didn't really exist in the Pokemon world. So, you know, everything that you got there was seemingly fine, although you did eat like Magikarp in the early animes, I think. But I'd say the Pokemon world is like far better for that than also the human world. I mean, obviously in real life we get worse things happening to animals just on a daily basis and as a result of capitalism. In Pokemon it's still creepy anyway that they consume animals and stuff. Like you've got Meowth eating clams and him talking about like fried chicken and stuff and ice cream. It's very weird. And we haven't had a proper explanation as to the cuisine in Pokemon, or say cuisine, but food or products. That's always something that's kind of confused me, because I want to know what exactly goes on. My headcanon has always been that they make something synthetic, or they actually treat Pokemon really well before the slaughter. You know, coming from someone who doesn't agree with animal products at all. You know, it's far different in a Pokemon world where they can actually defend themselves and essentially don't have to take up anything from humans. At least in the anime it's portrayed that way. I'm not sure about the games, it's harder to say, but the anime has explored different areas which you wouldn't expect. But it's sort of aged better in the anime as it got along as well, especially. So yeah, it's very strange. I still think about that every now and then. It's still cursed as hell. Again, I do not get it. It's too bizarre, I think. What do I even add? Pretty much covered everything, I think. Have I or haven't I? Voice acting is a bit weird as well. They changed the voice actors at some point. Everyone's different. Like, maybe with the exception of Meowth, but still. Yeah, it's like they changed all the voice actors for some reason. I don't know why exactly. Also, some of these like Pokemon themes, like not the actual theme, but the raps, I mean, and the stuff at the end, jukebox actually, like the rap and jukebox both. They're a bit weird at times. They have a good instrumental, but some of them they don't rhyme at all. It's like they're not even really trying. They're just naming Pokemon. Yeah, it just feels very weird in a sense. Obviously there are parts which just haven't aged well. Although, one part that has aged well as the music with enough. Actually, the background music. I think that's aged really well in the context of Pokemon over time, because all the old themes were really fucking good. I think Generation 1 had some of the best music, and it's one that I've actually transcribed music from. There's been quite a few themes, I think. I think like the battle theme, the one with the sort of like, I don't know how to describe it, it's like a twinkly bridge, I'd call it. Obviously not the actual term, but it's got like really interesting bit before it goes like epic again. It's got like interesting electronic bits as well. Yeah, I can't go wrong with the theme, and even like Team Rocket's theme, for example. It's quite iconic. Like, that's how good it was. And also there's bad sides. I just thought it was interesting looking back on it. So yeah, just felt like mentioning it. This is another topic that bothers me, and it's something really common, which also really sucks because it shouldn't be happening, but it is. It's like if you normalise a world of cannibalism or even like, I don't know, even darker things like child rape or whatever, it's literally the same thing. Because it is. This is what happens in this industry. Because I'm talking about animal agriculture and just the amount of harm and terribleness that comes from it. Like, it just is awful, and there are people who openly admit that they're fine with it because it creates a product that they like, which is just fucking horrific. It's like these people don't even have an ounce of empathy for a single animal, and yet when you bring up dogs, it's like, no, it's a taboo. You're not allowed to do that because it's a dog. Like, as if there's any fucking difference between them. Like, there is. Like, no difference. It's so just baffling. And it's something I saw on Such Vegan, that someone bring up a topic about this, about how we need to address this topic, and so I will. Yeah. I've not really talked about it much, and I want to talk about this, but essentially it's like the equivalent of going down in history as Hitler. That's my response to this thing, because it literally is. You're essentially doing what Hitler did, which is like, I think, self-satisfaction. Anyway. I'm not sure if it was specifically that during World War II, but literally a reason to commit these hideous fucking crimes and get something in return, supposedly. Technically it's not giving you anything in return, you just don't realise it. It's like this self-satisfaction thing again, because Hitler wanted to essentially get rid of the Jews and sparked a world war because of it. And then, obviously, as we are now in the current world, it's like people are willing to start wars over animal agriculture. You know, not just in like, you know, a war sense, but also societal sense. Literally, it's causing arguments and tearing friendships apart and even relationships. It's that big of a deal. And there are such high stakes with this and such high risk too, let's not forget that. I say high risk because supporting these sort of things anyway is already a red flag in itself. And already a sign of worse things to come. Given everything we know about animal agriculture and animals for the matter in the scientific field, there are so many reasons not to support animal products. Because they're just inherently evil, inherently corrupt. And from a societal standpoint, people being comfortable with this is again the same as being like Hitler. Like, it's not wrong to say that. It's literally the same thing. It is an animal holocaust, that's why it's called that, because a holocaust is a mass slaughter of innocent beings. I'm pretty sure the definition might be human actually, but you know, it pretty much applies to animals, because what else do you call a mass slaughter of animals? Like, there isn't really a word for it. So, yeah, it's just annoyances there in terms of people responding to this in such a way. It's just fucking ridiculous in all honesty. But it's like whether the world will wake up to the reality there. Like, it is quite dangerous that people have this mindset. On top of that, when we get people making excuses, this is the other thing. When there's excuses, there's often no reason to change. Because people will use those excuses or any excuse to do the things that they're doing or think good things about a bad habit, for example, which causes more issues. Like the people who justified slavery before, the same thing happened. Many people had excuses and tried to get away with it, essentially thinking, you know what, I'm fine with slaves, so I'm going to keep owning my slave and rub it in for people who don't, as if that changed anything. But in the end we realised that people who were in slavery had sentience, much like everyone else. They were humans, human beings, like everyone else. So we had that common ground, and then people started to realise actually they have a point. They are similar. They've got the same anatomy, they've got the same whatever. There's many different aspects that are similar here. And people started to wake up to that fact, which doesn't surprise me. Again, it's like kind of obvious. And we look back on slavery the same way we look back on any other atrocity. We don't like that happened, and we look back on it in shame. Like it should never have happened, and it shouldn't have. There's constantly that fault, and we constantly regret it for that reason. It doesn't surprise me. And then you have to make up for years and years of this garbage, this lack of women's rights, lack of black rights, lack of any sort of rights, for that matter, even disability. Where even once upon a time, even disabled people were treated like basically devil spawns in a horrific fucking way before we had science. It's just, there's so many bad things that in history have not aged well at all. And that's even things like animal agriculture. I even know it's better for the environment back then, and probably even better for ethics, technically speaking. The industrialisation of it has obviously fucked everything, and the excuses that people make for even beginning to exploit animals to begin with spawns more issues. Again, it sort of leads on to other things. It leads to corruption, it leads to greed, it leads to the situation we're in now, like capitalism. But not many people realise this, but when you go to McDonald's, you support capitalism. Do you need to go to McDonald's? No, you don't. In fact, it's cheaper to go to a fucking supermarket and even buy like local stuff. So no, you don't actually need fucking McDonald's. Are you kidding me? I don't even understand why I have to say this. It's like people don't actually, like, what's the term? Practice what they preach, that's it. Literally, you get so many anti-capitalist people who do these things, who support animal agriculture or go to McDonald's, or they support something inherently fucking evil and just turn a blind eye because it's something that they have some selfish desire for. Again, I don't understand it. What's the fucking point? Why are you doing this? Why are you compromising people's lives and everything else along with it? Animals' lives. Just for a fucking burger or a fucking milkshake? What the hell's wrong with you? I think we need to make more of a point that these people are also similar to paedophiles and rapists, because they literally are. Like, you look into the practices in animal agriculture and the sick things that people do. You got farmers taking away like the males, the baby males from mothers and stuff, and then disposing of them because they're not profitable. And you got cases where both a male and females are raped for the sake of producing more of those animals. And they do that with selective breeding as well, so they pick the specific types so that they can get more profit and be more efficient. This is why it's such a huge issue. It's why I make a big point of this, and why it is such an outrageous thing. As weird as it is to say, you can learn some things from even a classic example like that vegan teacher. Some of the things she said was wrong, for sure. I can't disagree with that. But she does make some good points. That much is true. But I think the fact that someone like her can even make those points in front of like millions, perhaps billions of people, it's just baffling. Like, why the fuck is someone like this, someone this controversial, able to make a solid point when nobody else is? It makes no sense. People literally do not think. That's the thing I'm starting to realise more and more. That's why they use that as an excuse. The further we get down, how far does it go? Are people going to say, like, I don't know, I have global learning delays, for example, but other people might have it different. And, you know, I can understand it. But people are going to start making excuses like that. And at some point they're being dishonest and not trustworthy. Which, again, is another issue. It's a knock-on effect of this. And, you know, the thing with what was said about it being similar to, again, raping children, is literally, animals are literally bred from a young age. It's the same thing. It literally violates their rights, and their age is essentially irrelevant to the industry because it creates profit. They don't give a shit who they do it to, as long as they produce something. So it's really fucking wrong. And then you got the whole thing in like the egg industry where they do genital inspections to check if a chick is male or female and then throw them as if they're nothing. And the males unfortunately get into a grinder and killed instantly usually. Some have outlawed that and then they've decided to gas them to death. And then, what then? Like, literally, there isn't any situation to get the males out of that. There's no such thing. It's not efficient. Too many males means too many other males. They can't lay eggs, they can't necessarily make more chicken either. So it doesn't make sense from that perspective. So you've got tons of issues there. And they're all cramped in these cages which aren't even free range, even though they're labelled as such. There are so many fucking violations. It's actually ridiculous. That's why I say people are similar to a lot of these things, like Hitler, again, child rapists. There are no doubt other things as well, like corruption, no doubt that plays a role in this. It's so fucking ridiculous, and it does sadden me as well when I hear other minorities actually making a profit off these things, because on one hand I want to root for the minority, but on the other hand I can't condone what they do. It's like a different thing. Like, say there's like, I've seen it before actually, like gay couples running a farm, for example, and I'm kind of like, good for them that they're gay, but I don't really like what they're doing to these animals, because it is inherently wrong. And they're also probably practicing the same things that everyone else does in these industries. So again, selective breeding, separation, even like some cases of animal abuse, that definitely happens as well, because they've put in that situation people, by the way, who have the same mental health issues as we do, will become vulnerable or even dangerous as a result of being put through this hellscape. So they end up abusing animals too, even raping them. Like, let's not forget that. People do get really fucked up ideas because they're put in these situations, they're exposed to it, and there's like nobody to actually help them or prevent it. There's no things in place to actually prevent it from happening. You get like really fucked up situations like that. I just don't get why people can condone this. That's why I pair all these people together. The same thing. I've made my argument here. It's pretty set in stone anyway. So yeah. I just do not get this. It's so fucking ridiculous. Anyway, I've got lots to move on. There's so many things to do at the moment. Also need to use the bathroom. I just felt like talking about this because it was brought up again. Haven't spoken about it in a long time, so yeah. Let's move on. I don't know what it is, but I think I'm just going to stop seeing these people. Well, I don't know what it is. Okay. It's just a load of like garbage. So it turns out there's some people I know actually looking at GB News for a source of info. Yeah, that tells you all you need to know. Because anyone who's known GB News or has seen it in the past year, they know that it's not a reliable source of information. And let's talk about our story today that was posted on GB News that it likely isn't true, and they've likely misrepresented the information. I won't say what it is because obviously it's sort of like doxing in a way, but holy crap, it feels like a rage bait story. It's designed to get engagement and also just bolster the already high view counts that they get on articles and their obviously sources. Yeah, I'm just constantly disappointed by this. And this sort of stemmed from a conversation about, well, I think maybe it came after actually, about some immigrant, again, raping someone. Again, you see these stories a lot because people focus on them specifically rather than the British people who have done far worse things in the country to underage people. But again, that's been like a focus, and I can't really comprehend it because why are we focusing on this rather than the actual criminals here? The actual criminals being the British people who've done it. It makes no sense at all, and it almost makes me wonder if the people who throw around these accusations and even just believe these things and stories are the ones themselves doing it. It often feels like a scapegoat, even with people who are genuinely innocent and even have the best intentions too. It literally does feel like a scapegoat for all their own issues, which is why I get a lot of red flags from this. As we've seen before with a lot of voters for evil, they've often been ex-convicts and even on sex offender registers, so yeah, like, what do I even say to that? It's really hard to refute because, again, you look into the people sparking these movements and being anti-immigrant. It's often them who are like these fucking horrible people. Yet the immigrants are the one they want to supposedly publicly lynch and publicly execute. What? What sort of fucking world am I in? I just can't believe some of the shit I hear and see sometimes. It's like almost too bad to be true. But again, I come back to that point that I've said many times before. I think if you see someone as not human or less than human, then you've already admitted that you don't actually care about solving a problem. You're just as criminal as they are. That's just objectively true. You literally cannot give a fuck about someone without giving a fuck about someone. Or even just like a group of people. Like, let's not forget that. Yeah, everyone's different, and the only way you can actually stop people from causing these problems to everyone else, if you actually care, because I believe a lot of people don't, is by looking at the source, going to where the source is, addressing it there, not when the crime has already happened, not when the atrocities have already happened. Which is why this never makes sense to me. It's why it never adds up. So, yeah, it pretty much sucks. I don't really know what else to add there. That's sort of the gist of it anyway. Trying to think of what else there is. I suppose some other things like it's also sort of misrepresentations of the just current political climates as well. That people believe anything they hear, and it's really frustrating because I haven't heard of it before. It's just so fucking weird. There's so many things going on that's just almost too much, and even then, like, people believe crazier things like predictions, and I just don't really essentially get it. Like, why are there these crazy predictions? It doesn't make any sense. It's so bad. So I don't know. What do I even add here? There's just so many terrible things going on. It's also in my own personal life too. It sucks that I have the type of autism where I can't speak out and speak openly about it because I also have anxiety, so I also get nervous. So I know I'm right about this thing, but I don't know how to say it and I can't say it. It's almost like burning a bridge in a way, and I'd be willing to do that, technically and personally. I wouldn't really give a shit if it burns bridges between me and people. I don't want to know people who are essentially ignoring the real issues here, and even like ignoring the solutions. Because we already have a solution in the UK's case, the Green Party. The only fucking ones who make the point, who get to the point, and keep on it. Nobody else is doing that. Not even reformers sticking to their own fucking logic. It's just nuts. I don't really know. Anyway, I forgot to try and move on before I just feel like fucking hanging myself. Yeah, well, just shit once again, still. So anyway, I'll move on. So, it's just something that I keep seeing recently, which I find bizarre. It's a short trend that I don't exactly agree with, but I keep getting recommended it. I need to actually put like not interested on that. It's just so bizarre in nature because it doesn't actually make all that sense. All that much sense, I mean. God, I can't English. Because the topic is about the world losing its colour, and you know, this to an extent has some meaning, but at the same time it doesn't. My main issue with it is it hasn't lost its colour. I think you have to be extremely fucking blind to actually think that. Because the comparison images essentially are red herrings, as is the fallacy. It's the fallacy of red herring, and it's showing a image of a colourful space versus a black and white space, or grayscale space, or whatever you call it. So the space is like more modern or designed a certain way. But this is a complete red herring because guess what? Designers do take into account when making these things, from what I understand of it anyway, that colour is important for even these spaces. So yeah, things are getting more flushed out. That's true. Problem is, they're not exactly getting completely flushed out, which is what the red herring is here. So you get people who are now thinking that, or panicking that this is happening, that this is real, that somehow everyone is just losing colour in the world. But this isn't true, because you have modern spaces which use colour. Plants, for example. Like, there are definitely places that use that. And, you know, like, that's what it's there for, essentially. It's like a blank slate, and then you add colour to it. You add paintings, you add images, you add different things, like posters as well. The posters are a big thing in my space. And even though I've got spaces like grey, I've got grey walls, I've got white desk, black and white stuff everywhere, pretty much, even a black dresser. I'd happily switch it for fantasy. You know, I'd love a fantasy themed setup now that I'm more invested in that. So like old wooden furniture and stuff, maybe the smelly kinds, but maybe not. Like, it depends. But I really think that the speciality is to make it as colourful as you can without also blinding yourself with it, making it nonsense. I also need to balance things out if I do make it sort of fantasy thing. I need to figure out what good flooring is, I need to figure out good wallpaper, I need to even figure out what a good ceiling would look like, and to an extent it makes it darker than it would be were it like this. And looking around now, there's plenty of white, and guess what? The white reflects colours too. It reflects the yellows, it reflects the blues as well from outside. It even reflects my lights, and again this adds colour. That's what it's there for, essentially. So it's a red herring from the get-go. Admittedly, I don't know if you can put like proper LED lights in like bathrooms or kitchens, for example, you could definitely put them in the living room. See, I just don't like this narrative. I don't think it is actually true, contrary to what they're obviously showing here. I do think it's a bit ridiculous and obviously taken really out of context and out of hand. Plus, people have it modernised for a reason as well. Let's not forget that. People literally have it modernised because things are too complicated or their needs require it. Their mental health, their age is probably catching up with them. So yeah, there's reasons why people go that modern route instead, and even like wear sort of, I guess, black and white clothing. I actually used to wear a lot of darker clothing or black clothing rather, like a few years ago. Then when I moved, I started to have an epiphany about actually what I wanted, and it turns out I actually really like coloured clothing. So I started investing in it more, and I'm happier for it. So in the end, I think the colour thing is more to do with what other people do with the space, and also clothing as well. It applies to here. So again, it's like open-ended. You're literally supposed to apply colour. I've got fake plants in my room. I've got colourful bed sheets. I've got the posters, as I said. I've got the LED lights. Like my bookcase, even though it's like white, it's got fucking lights inside and books, which add the colour. And I think it's also an OCD thing as well, so again, this takes things really out of context, and even though I'm OCD, I don't have the type where I can look at something and think, that's too disorganised. I do have it sometimes, but it's kind of rare these days. But people do have that where they can't stand to see it exposed. Can't stand to see it out in the open, and to an extent I can't. It's actually kind of difficult at times. You know, I sort of want like a proper thing for my monitor here, like a proper drawer thing. I can open it up and take things in and out. I want something to cover my things on the right. Got makeup boxes for that instead, and yes, makeup boxes because they're the only ones that provide space for the fucking things I have, like USB cables and stuff. But everything else is like giant, and I don't need that. So it's a bit stupid, but it works. Keeps things there. Yeah, like, again, looking around, plenty of colour. You can even add rugs as well, but you do sort of need to keep in theme with certain things. But again, mental health does play a role in that, and mine certainly plays some role. I don't like rainbows, for example, even though they're cool. I don't really like rainbow LEDs. I don't like rainbow themed things. I like things to be quite organised. So my LEDs, for example, like pink, yellow and blue, rather than essentially rainbows, which most people will go for, even just like a static colour. But I like to sort of represent myself in a way it's literally the pansexual colours. So it's got that element to it. It's got the customizability and also a message as well. And the same with my bookshelf, there's the same thing going on there. So it's sort of almost like a replacement for a flag in a way. Some crazy way. Yeah, what else is there to even add to this? Like, that's pretty much the gist of it. Again, there's not really a lack of colour, and even then, here's the thing, it's different back then than it is now. You know, 20, 30 years ago, yeah, like, houses would have been kind of a field with things to do, hobbies, board games, magazines, books, even like the new game consoles and stuff, and even like arcade machines. Let's not forget people had those too. But it's different now because everything's now on one device, and that's unfortunately the cost of the future. And it's like, do we want this lack of space with a bunch of things in the way, or do we want more space and more things? Well, obviously we have them on devices. So again, it's a huge red herring. Completely ignores the fact that we've evolved and moved on from that part of life. Admittedly, I still have a bookshelf, but I try to balance things out, which is my solution to the problem. Again, I'm not eliminating colour, I literally wear colourful fucking shirts every day. Like today I wore a black shirt with some purple on it. Yeah, not the most creative, but I still have other shirts. I have white shirts with brown on it. I have what's another one, like green shirt. I have a Hell the Sun shirt which has red on it. I have even like Silosa's album shirt with Edge of the Earth on it. You know, these are the things I wear, and it shows colour too, as well as art. It shows detail, and that's the only thing I would ever wear. Because it's not just about colour either. It's about art. It's something that people don't realise, but things that are eye candy aren't always colourful. If I were to look at, like, for example, in this game, Final Fantasy 14, like, look at the fucking engravings on this thing. Like, what the hell even is this? It's like a random sort of anchor thing. And it has these engravings on it. Not sure if they're bump maps, it's just where they have the bumps and stuff, and actually it might be because of the lighting. That's actually impressive. Yeah, it is. Actually, you can sort of see it. You know, it's flat on the side, obviously, but still it's got the detail, and it looks pretty amazing. You know, if it was high quality, it would be sight, and even the stone floor here. Even the flowers, unless you look up close, where they're actually obviously just paper cut holes or something. But from this angle, like, they're perfect. Again, it's about the detail and the direction. That's far more important than the colour. That does matter a lot. I've even had realisations about my room and my setup about changing that. I want to get rid of the rug I have, for example, both rugs actually, because I don't think they're really useful anymore, because they just cause OCD overload and sensory overload. They don't look in place, they look out of place. That's another reason why people move towards a basic colour, because it's like a simple direction as well. Hence black and white, hence grey and white and whatever. That's why it happens. And again, it can be made up for. If they don't like it, there are ways around it. So again, it's just a non-argument. I fucking hate this argument about everything losing colour. It's just ridiculous. In front of me, if I could describe how many colours I'm seeing, there's tons. Also got the LED lights, which I already explained. My drawing tablet's red. My poster up there is blue. My Futurama poster, my piano poster, my Pillar of Creation poster, JoJo poster, One Piece poster, Porco Rosso poster, an anime background poster. It goes on and on. I've got so many things here. So again, that's the argument. There is colour. You're just not looking. It's so fucking stupid. Yeah, some of these rooms that they show have like a TV and stuff, which is just absurd. But also another thing, I swear there was a thing about seeing more colour as a kid because our eyes adjust as we're growing up. And I remember like having this fascination with colours as a kid. I used to love all the different like cars I get and Legos and stuff, and I even collected a sort of Halo collection of Legos, even though I wasn't into Halo. Which is also very bizarre, because why would I? Like, what's the point? Like, it's just really bizarre. But that's essentially what happened there. So even though I wasn't interested, I still took it, I still got into it, and there was even one of my favourite car, like little car, I mean, a toy car, as a kid, and it's like this Ford thing with like really nice purple paint. I fucking love that car. And then I had Lego Racers as a teenager, and Transformers, and yeah, I still had a colour obsession up until adulthood. That's because colours were more vibrant, and it's been hard to replicate that as an adult, admittedly. I've even put vibrant filters on games and in just my monitor as well. I'm pretty sure I put it on my monitor to be default, and it's helped a lot anyway to make me a bit happier. Just colour up everything and make it a bit more joyful. Yeah. So, I don't really know what to add there. I'm tired, but that's the topic. There's nothing else to say. Jesus Christ, please shut up about this topic. It doesn't exist. It's fake. I don't know if anyone else has this struggle, but because I'm so specific about things and also kind of have an eye for detail and art for that matter, it's so hard to pick out a tattoo design. Because in my search to make a new tattoo, because I did one like quite a while ago, probably over a year ago now, and I wasn't happy with it at all. It was basically different foxes and it didn't turn out great in my opinion. I might share it one day, I don't know. I even coloured it, even did a black and white version. It was fairly detailed for the most part. Basically represented different foxes in their habitats, so it had like an Arctic fox at the top with an aurora in the background, Aurora Borealis, and I had a fennec fox in the Sahara Desert, and then I had a normal red fox in a landscapey area. I don't know what to describe it as, field, grassland, whatever. And it was kind of cool from that perspective. I even managed to position it in a way where the perspective had all of them connected. Because they're all sort of connected, aren't they? But I thought it was okay. It just wasn't great. And I remember showing it to people and it's kind of like a mixed reaction, I think. They weren't public about it, but it just felt kind of, yeah. I got the impression that it wasn't that good. So I sort of held off from it for a while, and even though I was quite insistent on getting said tattoo, I ended up getting it. Simply because there was too much on my plate at the time. I think I was moving here at first, and with everything happening around my family and stuff, I really had to take a step back and just basically settle down a bit, wait for things to calm down. And even now I'm still having to do that, but I've recently had a sort of change of plan with that and made a new tattoo. At this time it's a tattoo based on another design, because I thought the best way I'm going to get a tattoo out of this is to use a design that already exists and make it the way I want it. Because the design I found was okay. It had a lot of detail, it was nice, and I like the idea around it. But my main... I can't do anything about this chair, it fucking sucks. I'm getting a new one soon anyway. But my main issue with it is that it was kind of based on like spirituality. And I didn't really want to have that, to be honest. Especially with like a fox sort of thing. So I ended up not doing that and instead did something around it. So I designed basically a fox with plenty of like flowers around, but also holding a flower. Holding a flower, what? I mean a sword, not a flower. You can't fly with a flower, or can you? Well, this fox does. But the idea is quite simple, it's just a mix of two things I love. I love foxes and I love, well, nature to an extent. And I love the fancy elements. Obviously come with stuff, you know, fancy stories. I just love those elements and that really motivates me. So having that in tattoo form really is a representation of my interest and my love for these things. Because yeah, I still love fantasy quite a lot. It's probably my favourite genre of story, because I find everything else kind of boring. Modern can be okay, but isn't always good. Like Breaking Bad and Dark, for example, are quite good in its own way, although Dark was more of a sci-fi. But then I enjoy fantasy a lot more. There's been some decent like fantasy elements. Like I think is One Piece of fantasy? Technically, it kind of is. It's like a power of fantasy. Yeah, it's like swords. Yeah, obviously it is fantasy. But even like the Owl House and also another one, like Freerun. Yeah, Freerun. It's pretty amazing. But it's like different fantasy elements I like, and I have so many books I like as well, and series as well. Witcher series was fucking great, especially the books. I think the games were a bit mixed, but the books easily 10 out of 10 from me for pretty much every book. I think it's just incredible, and I still have memories about the memories I have about that, which is also really fucking insane. Also crazy sort of Inception sort of thing there. Yeah, fantasy is literally a big special interest of mine. It's become such a big deal for me because of just how much I've consumed over the years. Like, into Discworld again. I'm struggling to read it at the moment because fuck, I don't know what's going on. But Discworld in its own way is fun. I've somehow forgot about like Death's gimmick, which I always found funny. But yeah, even on the Discworld gimmick anyway. Fucking elephant on a turtle's back. What the hell? How do you come up with this? Yeah, again, it's like love of fantasy mixed with foxes, and my obsession with foxes actually stems from obviously my love for fox characters like Tails, but also I just do like foxes in real life as well. The more I've looked into them, like obviously the funny animal videos, but also facts, the more interested I am, and I feel like I relate to foxes a lot more than anyone else. Foxes are generally shy and quite sort of solo rather than sociable. Yeah, they are sociable, but not to the extent that dogs are where they go in packs. I don't think foxes even go in packs, so it's kind of like that thing. They do really relate to me and speak to me on a certain level. That's why I feel it's kind of important that I do have a tattoo like this to again represent me. Similarly to why I have a tattoo of a rose on my left arm. If you haven't seen it, it's like a gothic rose with sort of spider webs on it, even though spiders cream me the fuck out. It's for a family member who's deceased, but yeah. This tattoo still speaks to me in different ways. I do quite like the gothic themed stuff. It's also kind of fancy anyway. The gothic stuff is, I think. There's an element of fantasy to it. You've got all the dragons, you've got bats and stuff. Even castles, like, fuck, castles could be golf. And even South Park is golf. Wait a minute. Yeah, that's just it. So I don't know what to add here. It's basically it with that. Again, it's just a tattoo with me written on it, and also again the flowers, the grass and stuff have even added to it. I've done the shading. I'm not going to colour it. I don't think it might be a later thing if I do. But either way, it should be good. I'm not sure if I'll share it exactly right away, because I sort of want it to settle and stuff, and obviously, yeah, I want it to heal properly. Still have my tattoo cream in the medical box behind me. Yeah, I do have a box full of all prescriptions and stuff, which might be weird, but I don't know. It can be useful though. It does. So yeah, I'm not really sure how to start, but that's about it. That's for the tattoo. I sort of reminded of that topic I did recently, but I also dropped the N-word. Yeah, I don't care. But this is why I just don't take things seriously anymore. I'm fed up of things. I have too many meltdowns. I have too many shutdowns. At a certain point, I just lose grip with reality, and it's fine as long as I'm not harming anyone else. The thing that really pisses me off is I don't get why people have to be offended. Like, fuck off. I was thinking about how I sort of play games in a sandbox mode, and the sort of things I'll do. I wouldn't do immature things necessarily, but it depends on the people I'm sort of around and playing with. So if it's a safe space, that guy's glasses, it's fucking funny. That's sort of shit I'll do though, literally. Like, just putting my glasses on and off. Speaking of which, I need to put some on this character possibly. But yeah, like, I don't get the big deal about just having goofy fun in these things. It doesn't really make much sense, because I was thinking about Minecraft and how there's someone that I know that plays it. And supposedly someone in my family as well. And I'm just like, I don't really like the game, but at the same time, it does feel like I can maybe do with playing it with them, but I'm not sure. And then I'm thinking about like the goofy things I can do to get a laugh out of everyone and sort of have fun. And weirdly enough, one of the stupid things I thought about, because it's like, you know, one of those things we joke about, it's like maybe some sort of swastika that's hidden in the ceiling. Like, again, really stupid shit. Obviously, I don't believe this. Obviously, I don't condone it. But at the same time, it's like not offensive to us. We're the type of people that aren't offended by these things when we see it. Like, naturally, I will have an issue with it if people are using it offensively, but I won't really care in the long run. And it's one of those things where I just don't think it's a big deal. It doesn't really matter that much. And if I was to make a swastika in like the ceiling in Minecraft, obviously cover it with like carpet on the next floor, assuming that's how it's made. Like, why bother? Why care? It's literally just a fucking image of all things. It's not like I'm writing a message there, but it's something else, or maybe I'm just portraying a message. But it's just why I don't take things seriously. And I even thought about something stupid about making like a penetration machine or something. I'll somehow find a way to do that. But you know, it's just dumb shit. And I'm trying to think like, yeah, like this goofy as hell. But that's the point. I really do not think it's really worth fussing about. And I don't get why people care about it. What I build or what I don't build in a certain game. It's a very niche thing, especially something like Minecraft, where you are quite limited, technically speaking. Unless you have command blocks, but yeah, that's another thing. I really just do not think there is a good excuse for being offended and not, well, even a good excuse for taking it seriously. I don't get that. Just don't take it seriously. That's where you get the most fun. And that's how I think a lot of games nowadays, especially sandboxes, somewhat lose their charm. I've seen clips and images of like gamers where there's like swastikas maybe built into the game. I've seen even like T-Row Galactic and that sort of thing. Where a public lobby, of all things, not a private lobby, where no issue, but a public lobby is putting up a swastika with the wiring thing. I can't remember what it's called. Or the pump jack thing. Or the connector. I think it's actually a connector. But someone made a swastika with that, and I'm like, yeah, bit in poor taste, especially depending on who's joining that, especially if it's EU. But I don't know. Like, again, I won't be that offended either way. But I've even joined like proper racist games in that, and you know, a game like Peace of Mind that these cunts where they have a description saying like no niggers or no whatever. Like, it really depends on what it is. And I just think, you know, I'm going to defend obviously the people who are being targeted here. And I'm going to make this guy's life a misery as a result, because I just don't want him to be fucking around these people, fucking around with them for that matter. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And that's why I get involved, that's why I respond. And obviously I respond because I have a sense of morality and even a duty to do so. That's why I care about it, that's why I'm passionate. That's why it's a thing. So I do get on board with that. But at the same time, if it's like in private or even just like goofy, I don't know what I'm thinking of, like, I don't know. Nothing really coming to mind, to be honest. Maybe like, I don't know, it's really hard to say what I'd make, because it takes a lot of creativity as well, and also just guts too. It's kind of like, if you go into Gary's mod and you make an Epstein Files, or something, it's like fucking stupid like that, but also kind of funny. it's kind of in poor taste to some, but not too much. And I don't think people should take it that seriously anyway. You know, everything falls are horrible, to be clear, and it should be further investigated. But I don't think it should be taken seriously when people are also joking about it like this. It's really not that big of a deal. Again, in this context, where it's a sandbox and people are just making fun of it. So yeah, that's basically it, I think. I don't really think there's much else. Like, it's just a thing there. Yeah. Anyway, don't really think I have anything else to add, so yeah. Anyway, let's move on. This come up again sort of briefly and annoyingly. I really don't want to talk about it. It's so fucking horrible as an idea. But there's in a recent Jamie Dodger video, or, you know, Jamie, everyone knows him. And it's a really annoying topic because the nature of it is, it's about like accidental allies and stuff, and there's a group of people who just seem to go around online for some reason, not necessarily like transphobes, but people trying to either defame LGBTQ+, or even just defame like certain ideas or people. And they keep trying to pair it with other things, like I was just seeing the comment that I found. There's people even saying that LGBTQ+ needs to include zoophiles and paedophiles. Yikes. And these people actually exist. This is a fucking crazy thing. You know, they're not like anywhere else, it seems. It's fucking weird. But you know, I don't get it. Because, you know, the way I've understood things, the justification for, you know, a lot of these, well, not necessarily ideas, but they're real, by the way, like zoophiles and paedophiles. And they are very much inherent to people, unfortunately. Again, you do the research on this, not take my word for it, or just take my word for it, for the matter. But whilst they are real, you might wonder, like, why aren't we including them? It's very simple. LGBTQ+ has always been about gender and identity, rather than being just a minority. And yeah, we have had to fight for our rights, and no doubt zoophiles and paedophiles will have to as well. Because believe it or not, yes, they do deserve rights. It's a controversial opinion, but do the research. Again, you'll discover that they're actually more human than you think. And you'll see the issues there. You'll see what needs to be done. So that's why that's important. So yeah, like, that's why this sort of topic just pissed me off, because LGBTQ+, as I've interpreted it personally, has always been about gender identity and, you know, sexuality in terms of gender. On those levels, it's not about age, it's about gender. And even like, people expressing themselves in, again, gender. That's what it's all about. Like, lesbian, attracted to females, female on female, gay is male on male, or it can mean female on female, because, you know, times has all changed. It could also mean happy. Just kidding. You have to be miserable. But bisexual means attracted to both genders. And T means transgender, so that also means someone who's transitioned from one gender to another. And then there's the Q, where that means queer usually, but also means questioning, supposedly. Like, it seems to have two different meanings. So queer and questioning, so you've got people who think they may be one of these things, or possibly they might actually be queer. As in, they're not the normal sort of things that we know. So maybe they're like bigender or something. Or even just like all gender, you never know. But then you've got the I, which is intersex. Let's forgot about that. And then A, which is averace or asexual, or just aromantic. And then obviously the plus, which includes the other ones that we've not really gone into. So like different gender identities, sort of things going on there. Like, again, gender, it sort of includes that. But you know, that's what LGBTQIA plus stands for. But in that we don't include P or Z. For obviously that reason. It's not about gender identity, and in a sense, like, yeah, they are discriminated against unfairly, just objectively speaking, according to the evidence, because everything that science has done for this, and honestly it's a fucking miracle that we even have science on this, to be fair, it just shows that this is something that needs to be addressed as soon as possible, rather than obviously like we're addressing now, which is like public hangings, which you already lose the argument because you don't view someone as human, and you're not even doing something of a punishment if there is anything to punish. That's the thing. Because believe it or not, there are people who have these issues and don't offend, who still get discriminated against, which is just fucking nuts to me. It's like, everyone wants to kill someone at some point. I've had that thought. You've had that thought. I could guarantee it. And, you know, it depends on who it is and how they pissed you off. But the reason we don't act on it is because murder is immoral. And that's essentially no different. I mean, it's different to take someone's life than to, obviously, rape someone. But in the same vein, you know, these are things that we haven't committed, so you're gonna then start to say, like, oh, we're all fucking murderers, we all deserve to be killed because we've wanted to kill someone. Like, it just doesn't make any fucking sense. It's so fucking crazy. And then it sort of reminds me of something that happened in school with me. There was someone I knew who actually had a hit list of people, like, not to kill obviously, but just people to get revenge on, essentially. So yeah, like, there are really sick and twisted people out there, for certain. But if they act on it, that's a problem. If they don't, it's not. And even then, if you're so worried, then do the fucking research, do the right thing, which is to prevent and understand these things. So understand and prevent, rather, in that order. And that's where it matters. So yeah, don't really know what to add there, but that's essentially it. There's no such thing, really, as offending non-offenders. Like, that just isn't a thing. So again, it's logically unsound to do these sort of things, and that's why there is going to probably be a movement in a few years' time, if not sooner, where people with these issues are going to start speaking out and being more public. It wouldn't surprise me, because people are just fucking fed up with this. They want to get help for their issue or even find an alternative. I don't know what it would take. Mainly that's still being researched from what I've understood of it, going through videos I've seen and studies I've tried to read too. Jesus Christ. Again, as someone who's been a victim of this, it's like, why the hell are people so uneducated on this that they think they know best? It's just nuts that they think they know better than science, which is really fucking weird for society and just how people are today. I really do not get it. It's like the same as being anti-vax. You just don't want to believe the things that are being said that are inherently true about it, and things that can't even be proven. They just want to believe these things. So, I don't know. But that's why, again, LGBTQ plus won't have a P or a Z in it. LGBTQIA plus. That's why. They're not gender. And in a sense, they're its own minority. And who knows, it could even be like, just like, I don't know, what's the order, like PZ plus, I guess I would call it. Just to coin the term here. Because there is other things. There's like paraphilia disorder, which again includes other things. There's even like weirder things, I think, that I'm not even aware of. Like probably like a sort of disorder where you're attracted to objects. Like, I know that's a thing actually. But again, that pairs all these people together because these things are unusual. They're not things that we typically see. We don't even observe them in nature actually. At least I don't think so. I don't know about interspecies stuff, but maybe that's the thing with paedophilia. I tried to look at this before because I was quite curious why humans are the only ones that do it, and I got no answer. So I thought about it for a while and I thought, hang on, in nature there aren't any fucking laws or anything. There's no morality. So literally they could be doing this anyway, just unconsciously, and that just really like fucked me up. It's like, what the hell? Like, nature is really fucking evil, and that's probably why we don't exactly see it, let alone acknowledge it. It's another one of those things that's just like inherently evil. So, I don't know, it's like not observable exactly, but it could probably happen. But yeah, anyway, it's not an uncomfortable, what do I mean? It's not a comfortable topic, that's what I meant. But this is my answer to that, and the fact that someone is even saying that. So I've got a comment here. Some dickhead, I think. Hang on, let me double check this. Yeah, someone spamming comments saying zoophilia, sexual attraction to animals, and bestiality, sexuality with animals have existed throughout history, appearing in ancient mythology, folklore, and prehistoric art. Apparently, zoophiles have been since prehistoric times. Better get used to it. Very soon the plus in LGBTQ+ is going to be replaced with a Z. Better get used to it. By the way, Catherine the Great was definitely a zoo. It's well documented. There'll be no controversy. Should ITV decide to depict Catherine the Great as a zoo? What the fuck? That's just absolute nonsense. You can't even replace the plus in LGBTQ+ because, again, it includes as many different flags. If you look up what the different flags are, if you just a quick search on plus flags, you'll get a compilation. You get like an entire list of these flags. Like, you've got a rainbow flag, you've got demigirl, you've got gender fluid, you've got semi-sexual, semi-void. There's like so many different fucking flags, and Jesus Christ, there's even like a bigger one here from a print offsite. Not in order for some reason, but just like history of flags and some of the other ones that we don't know. But no, you can't replace the plus because guess what? It just doesn't exist really. Like, Z is not part of the plus because it's not about gender. And all these flags, once again, as I've said, are all about gender identity. There's nothing here saying that it's not. Demigirl, it's definitely gender. Demiboy, definitely. Demisexual, definitely. Demigender again. Polysexual, definitely. Agender, definitely. Intersex, definitely. Like, it's all about gender identity, so we've misunderstood the fucking entire point of LGBTQ+. It's just nuts. And you're saying it needs to be replaced with Z. Well, it's like saying, again, the PZ plus, I've coined it. It's like saying replacing the plus on that with gender, because it's the same logic. It's like, oh, you better get used to it because, you know, this thing is coming, this is a real thing, it's normal. It's so fucking idiotic. You could do it with anything as well. You could do it with, like, made up things too. Like, you could definitely do it with, I don't know, like politically sexual or something. Something weird like that. You could do it with people who are just specifically attracted to specific things again. Like, it could even not be about sexuality. It could just be about including psychopaths and murderers and stuff. Again, this is what you're doing. You're essentially pairing an evil thing with something that's innocent. So, yeah, it just sucks. Anyway, I better move on because this is tiring. Yeah, that's my thoughts on this. Yeah, so I might as well talk about this, but yeah. Be brief, I think, but here's why police arrest people for doing the right thing. This is a topic I've seen brought up and also appeared in a more critical video. Things as a compilation of like police chases. I'm quite interested in them, to be honest. It's somewhat entertaining but also kind of dumb. And someone got arrested for being hit by a car that was in a chase, which was weird because it was definitely an accident, but somehow they got arrested for being the victim. And if I had to guess, it's something to do with obviously corruption and stuff. It's much like the ACAB stuff with cops are bastards, and it always will be, I think. Because I think the problem really comes up with this is when there are such a problem, they end up bleeding into like real life and stuff and doing this shit, which affects everyone. To say there's someone literally kidnapping a child, the only thing people can do is call the police, but by that time it's too late. So what can you do? The answer is nothing. It's fucking grim. This is the world that they created, not us. To be clear, it's always the government and the police. But that's what they want you to do. They want you to let people get away with the crimes they do, so that they too can get away with it as well. Let's not forget that. Also, allow others to get away with it so they can also take the glory, and they have the power to exercise authority there to essentially coerce people into doing whatever they want. So it's a whole bunch of twisted evil shit, and that's why it's so fucking wrong, obviously. That's why I think people need to be governed by a law of morality rather than legality, because at this point legality is just pointless. And yeah, like literally setting up something to obviously go in the opposite way of the police and stuff is probably the best option in my opinion. It's just so annoying. I just don't know how to describe it. It reminds me of these stories from like 8 or 7 years ago when I used to be into this too. Into looking into these stories and hearing about them. And seeing that people who've done the right thing, like found a lost child and returned them, being arrested for that. For having found a lost child. And then that just incentivises nobody to do anything. And on top of that is also the people whose child was lost to begin with, who's corrupt. So they're like essentially extorting someone for money and getting them arrested, ruining their life. And it's like, why bother even helping? And the thing is, you also have to realise when it actually does happen that a child gets lost again, fuck them. Like, there's no point. No, the child doesn't deserve it, but the parents are awful. So, yeah, it's like, why fucking bother? This is why I say we need to be governed by morality. And then I think if you're like a bystander seeing like a lost child being helped, and you see this happening, like the police and even the parents just getting really agitated by this, I'd literally just get involved. Like within enough, just take the police into custody and the parents, because this is fucking ridiculous. You shouldn't be arrested for that. It reminds me of a story that I actually heard yesterday as well. That someone stopping a thief or something and being fired for it. It's just, what? Like, these people are stopping horrible people. Obviously the one who stopped the thief is good. And they're being punished for it. Like, why? It doesn't make any fucking sense. All this safety stuff and all these, not necessarily political correctness, but why should you even fucking care? I guarantee you, if someone was like kidnapping your child, why would you even care about safety? At this point, it's the top priority to get your child back. There's nothing fucking else. It doesn't matter how you get there, as long as the child is safe and returned to you. So it needs to be done sooner rather than later. But this is the world again that the government creates and the police create, for that matter. They're no longer governed by morality, it's just legality, and yeah. So it fucking sucks. This is how you create a lawless world, and it's also how you create civil wars and even like protests and movements. Even the more extreme side, like riots. I remember the Black Lives Matter stuff. I still remember it because it's just so controversial. the people on the side saying all lives matter as if somehow their life was more important than a black person's, where black people were discriminated against. Okay, like where's your discrimination then? Where are you discriminated? Like nowhere. Nobody actually points to that. So, no. All lives don't matter, it's just fucking stupid. Like, there's no such thing. Because the lives that have mattered for years, obviously the white cisgender people, and straight for that matter. So yeah, literally doesn't fucking matter. But even just like white nationalists, I guess. People who are part of a nation, not foreign. So I don't know. Obviously I'm fucking sick and tired of this. It's so stupid. Yeah, this is why I say that we shouldn't have a government and we shouldn't have police. It's fucking pointless. It's run by money, it's not run by morals. And that's where the argument ends. Another dumb comment, but I sort of agree with it in some way. Yeah, Simpsons clip of Bart finally reading a book supposedly, and it's got obviously quite a controversial connotation to it. That being that Bart has a smartphone, and apparently that's why it feels so wrong. And I think it's not really. Because a lot of the modern Simpsons, you might realise, it doesn't completely revolve around smartphones. Unlike this episode, which kind of does to an extent, but it picks up like Bart's interest in books with, well, at least Art of War. It's like a book that he actually is interested in, where there is something for him. And I think that saying it's because of the being in touch with modern technology is the problem. I think it's true and false. I think the reason we don't like it is because it's so unusual. If you grew up with The Simpsons, you've probably seen none of them with smartphones or even just cell phones. It's quite unusual. And that's probably why it just feels so wrong. But meanwhile, if people had grown up with the modern Simpsons, I think you would have probably seen it as something cool. So it just shows that times are obviously changing as well. But much like everything else, though, you also don't want to see it. The thing with Simpsons is it's kind of a pop culture thing, and even the old episodes, whether you like it or not, were pretty much based around pop culture. Even some of the gags and jokes, I'm pretty sure, even if you don't know what they are. That's like I don't. But I think that's why it feels so unusual. I've gotten used to it over time, especially having enjoyed some of the newer seasons, the last four, I'd say. But before that, it's kind of like, it's really hit or miss. At least for the past, like, 14 years, since, like, season 20 or 19 was one of them. I can't remember which one actually started to be really bad. But, yeah, looking back on it, I do really think that The Simpsons had some good reasons to become more ingrained in the future of technology. And now there's episodes about things that aren't related to technology, so now it's just like kind of a thing. And what's the game book that I can remember in that? Yeah, so it's very weird. It's like the game Simpsons is like currently around the pop culture of the world right now. I mean, it's not going into politics like ICE and stuff, or Trump even, which South Park is doing. But it's still like trying to do things differently and not like it did in the classic Simpsons. But I do really think it's trying to do something. Why I feel disappointed, I guess, is people just don't see it that way. Well, the crowd are expecting essentially a pretty much a classic episode, but that's not gonna happen. I don't think it ever will, to be honest. I think that's only because we expect too much. And it's not an easy thing to address exactly. So like, we're expecting that classic, it's not gonna be classic. That's just an unfortunate fact. But headphones, headphones, what the fuck am I saying? Where did headphones come from? I saw it on my thingy for some reason. I don't know. But I don't think it's a problem exactly. So again, it's like a half truth. It's not what ruined Simpsons, but it is something that's kind of ruined it in a way too. I remember even like a crappier episode like Bart being an esports person, like doing competitive games for some reason. It's a very unusual episode in its own way because obviously it's a niche thing. It's probably something that, what was he, a streamer? I can't remember if he was like an esports professional or a streamer. It's probably professional. But that's the sort of stuff that's like, why? It's so unusual and just unlike The Simpsons. And given that the sort of style is supposed to be a dysfunctional family rather than, oh, Bart does this today, sort of thing, it's kind of unusual. And that's really the point that people miss. It's become less about drama and all this stuff. You know, stuff being quite unusual. Like, that's why I look to even the latest episodes as a thing that's good for The Simpsons, because I've found a few good episodes. I point to like season 37, episode 11, which was so unusual and just different for The Simpsons, and yet it followed the recipe to a literal fucking T. It's a future episode, but it had all the elements of a classic episode too. The gags, the sort of, even like the harder topics to talk about. It didn't tackle them perfectly, I will admit that, but it does feel like it should have tried a bit more in that sense. Like, the way they tackled Bart's part was a bit strange. I liked the idea, but I didn't like how they executed it. And it was kind of shocking as well, seeing the reveal you get later. But this is kind of the thing I'm talking about. It's not smartphones that ruin The Simpsons, even though there is some in this, I think. It's just the fact that you ain't got good writers or you ain't got a good sense of humour, and that's really what let it down. That's what made it become a letdown when it first started in the HD era. And I remember looking on the wiki, I could be wrong about this, but I swear I saw or read something about how in the, obviously each episode there's like different writers, and it makes me think like, okay, I'm sure, I guess it could work, but at the same time it's to its detriment as well. It is kind of disappointing to see, because sometimes having multiple writers means that anyone can write anything. And it even reminds me of this episode I saw from a channel called Simpsons Theory, not episode, it is about an episode though, it's about multiple. But they ranked every bad episode from each season. Like the worst rated episode, I mean, not the bad episodes, but the worst rated, and there were some surprising results. But there was an episode there which is so fucking creepy, you would have thought it would have been made by Epstein or something. It's so fucking weird. But the episode involved Bob dating a girl that's older than him, who is a part of the Cletus family, you know, I forgot what they're called. But she has this career in making music, and then there's like a creepy guy sort of romanticising her, which is like fucking weird. It's like an older guy. There's even something like that later on, which is even stranger, and it's just like, the hell? And apparently, according to Simpsons Theory, I've got their name, this is apparently a reference to an old guy who dated his daughter. What the fuck? Like, this is what the problem is. There's no singular writer, and that's why you have such a, not only just a diverse like range of stories and characters and ideas and stuff and humour, it's also why it sucks. Because it's not a reliable source. You get random writers, and so you get random stories. Even if you get someone trying to Simpsonify it, for lack of a correct term, it's still not going to be great. It's just still going to suck because guess what? It's still going to have those elements from said writer, regardless of whether it's proof checked or not. So yeah, that's the main reason why it sucks. I've seen good episodes with smartphone usage, even I think it's season 36, might be 37 actually. But there was an episode in that where there was a scalper crisis, and this is referencing the scalper crisis. It's a bit late though, but it's like they take tickets and stuff, and it involved smartphones of all things and technology, and also like pop culture references of obviously this time. So I like that episode. Yeah, it was actually really well executed. Apart from an error of animation, but that's a sort of nitpick issue, I guess. Yeah, someone obviously bashed Simpsons for being too modern. It's just the writing style is really the problem here. You could do great things with smartphones, but that just depends on the writer. In fact, I was planning on writing an episode, fun facts. Just making a fan episode anyway. It's all about cancel culture because, in general, I think it is kind of detrimental. We have this culture of essentially beating people down, even though everything else they do is fine and good. But the moment they do one thing wrong, it's like, oh, fuck it, hang them. People really do not like when there's other mistakes, and it's often a scapegoating thing. And the idea of the episode was to basically install it in a classic way, where there's plenty of gags. It's like a great opening to, there's an opening leading to the cancel culture sort of thing, and there would be like a resolution. I'm also like working on it from basically the end to the start. I essentially abandoned it because I had too many things to do at the time. I was working on my mental health. But I had some interesting ideas and twists in there. Weirdly enough, even cancelling Lisa, all people. And I had a good reason for that. It's like something really petty and stupid, which is basically mixing recycling with the garbage. So yeah, that's why she was cancelled, and yeah. Essentially the one who survives is actually like, I think Bart, maybe? I can't remember what I wrote actually. It's either Bart or Homer, but it's probably more likely Bart, because obviously Homer's a deadbeat dad. Bart's just a troublemaker, and you can't necessarily cancel him because he's a troublemaker. He's not racist, he's not sexist or anything. So it's like, yeah, you could make a story like this, believe it or not. And it involves like modern culture. And I think it could work. Yeah, if I was continuing it, could do it one day. It's probably still on my drop down list, is it? Let's see. I don't think it is. It's quite a while ago. Speaking like over a year ago now. I don't remember if that Events of Time. Yeah, it seems to be long gone now, so I don't know where it is. Yeah, that was all I have to say though, so hopefully people take that on board. That's the gist of it. I'm going to do an outro. Thanks for listening. See you next time.